How long had I been asleep, and when had I realized I wasn't anymore? I watched the ceiling fan circle slowly above me, doing nothing to dissipate the clouds of cigarette smoke that had drifted above my room for years. I started most mornings this way, but no, it wasn't morning, was it? I turned my head toward the bedroom window and confirmed the sky was dark outside of it. The last thing I recalled was being in the bathroom, and then silence, and then sweet darkness. Seth. I sat up and chugged an old bottle of water sitting on the floor next to the bed, and then threw the empty bottle at my closet door. I lit a cigarette and took a long drag, releasing a cloud of smoke up into the apathetic fan. It floated idly above me. Pulling on an old hoodie, I walked out into the small living room of the apartment I shared with my roommate.
Evening, Princess.
Seth was reclining on the end of the couch, fingers flying across the keyboard of a notepad sitting on his lap. A confusing yet edgy movie played on the TV in front of him. This was pretty much Seth's life on any given day, and it perfectly summed up all my interactions with him since I'd moved in. Well, all my sober interactions with him anyway. I pulled down on my sleeves to subconsciously hide my arms like it made any sort of difference. But, of course, it didn't. Seth already knew. He noticed what I was doing, and his smile fell into a sobering look.
Found you passed out in the bathroom again.
Sorry, I rasped and reached for a half can of Mountain Dew that had been sitting on the counter for God only knows how long.
You do realize how difficult it is for me to drag a 6'3" dude out of the bathtub and down the hall to his room.
Next time, just leave me there, man.
Hardly. You would have choked on your own vomit.
I shrugged. I knew this was the death lurking in my future anyway, but heroin afforded me one convenience that I refused to part with: a dreamless sleep. I'd die before I surrendered that. Besides, if the nightmares come back, I'd probably just kill myself anyway.
You had some visitors today while you were passed out. Dreddy stopped by.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he left you more drugs. Said you can pay him when you have the money. You know, he must be the sweetest, most generous drug dealer in all of Chicago.
And where is it?
You were sleeping like a baby in the tub, so I just left it next to you.
Cool.
In the toilet.
Dude!
Look, man, if you die, I don't get your half of the rent. And if I don't get your half of the rent, I have to get a real job. It's just business, not personal.
Of course, that wasn't true. Seth and I had met at a darker time in both our lives and shared the sort of bond that is only forged in such circumstances. Who was the other?
The other what?
The other visitor.
Oh, a girl, actually. I told her you were out. Figured you'd prefer I tell her that over the truth.
Did she say what she wanted?
No.
I swore. That was never good. It was probably just some girl coming over to beg for free drugs, which I didn't currently have because Seth had flushed them down the toilet. I would never let her touch my private stash. That had to be it. What else could she want? Great, so some chick either wants to hook up or is coming over to tell me she's pregnant.
You wish. This chick was way beyond anything you could ever get.
Really? Because she did come around asking for me, didn't she?
Sure, but I'm the one who got her number.
No, you fucking didn't. I laughed as I walked into the kitchen and took one of our 3 glasses out of the cupboard.
Oh, I did.
Seth held up a torn shard of white paper.
She gave it to me and asked me to call her when you came home.
He used air quotes on the last 2 words. Yeah, well, I don't want anything to do with... There was a knock at the door. I shot Seth a poisonous look.
What?
He threw up his hands and stood up.
She's really hot, and you can't stand in the way of true love.
Don't open it.
Sorry, Sam. But you know, I have a thing for redheads.
Redheads? What? Do I know any redheads? I couldn't place one for the life of me. And then Seth opened the door to reveal Kimber DeStaro standing on the other side. I suddenly felt like a bucket of ice water had been dumped on my soul. I had a few seconds to study her before her eyes found me leaning against the counter in the kitchen. She was still very short, but her hair was longer, halfway down her back it looked like. And she was, of course, almost 10 years older than the last time I'd seen her. Looking at her after all these years was physically crippling. I had to make a concentrated effort to stay on my feet while my knees tried to buckle underneath me. Just seeing her face brought back painful memories I thought long buried. She was like a mirage long dead, returning to torture me. Kimber's eyes finally found me as she nervously clutched her cell phone in her hands, turning it over and over against her chest.
"Hi, Sam,"
she said, with more confidence than she clearly felt. Since Kimber had actually spoken to me, I could probably confirm that this wasn't a nightmare. She was really here. And if she was real, that meant that it was all real too. A shudder racked over my body, and I wound my white-knuckled fingers around the edge of the countertop. "Why are you here?" I hadn't meant to sound so angry. My words seemed to rattle Kimber, and she took a step back. Seth watched the exchange with interest, but didn't intervene. "You shouldn't be here, Kimber. I just wanted her to leave. This needed to end before I lost it. After she was gone, I could pretend she was just a nightmare seeping through the veil." Kimber hesitated. I saw her calculating in her mind as she watched me, her lips moving only slightly as she organized all the variables in her head. It was such a Kimber thing to do, and it made me realize how much I missed her. I saw the exact moment when Kimber found in her mind what she was looking for.
"Did you get my letter?"
"Yes."
"And?"
"And I threw it away. Lies." She faltered for only a moment.
"Did you read it?"
I didn't say anything, but I knew she could read the answer on my face. When neither of us spoke, an awkward tension began to bleed into the room.
"So I'm Seth."
My roommate said, still casually leaning against the door. Kimber held my stare for a moment longer, and then broke it to finally walk into the room. Seth let the door close behind her.
"Kimber,
"And how do you know Sam?"
we grew up together."
Neat. Sam and I were cellmates in prison.
"Seth."
I was in for a super sexy felony, computer crimes. Sam was in for
"I swear to God, Seth."
harder stuff. "Good night, all,"
he said cheerfully and left the room. I kept my eyes on him as he made his way down the hall to his room, cursing his every step. When Seth's door had finally closed behind him, I reluctantly let my gaze drift back into the room. Kimber was watching me with an expression I couldn't read, but I didn't like it.
"The letter."
"Yes, I read it." Kimber continued to stare at me, waiting for more, and she cracked me just as easily. "I don't want to say." I ran my hands through my mess of dark, unwashed hair. "I'm sorry that we didn't."
"Sam, stop. I'm not here for apologies. I don't need one. You guys got me out."
"Kyle got you out." His name seemed to impale her. I wondered how long it had been since she'd heard it.
"Well, that's kind of why I'm here. There are others, Sam. Women who never escaped that place.
"Yeah?
I want to help them.
How?"
I want Drisking to be exposed. I want what they've done to be known to the world."
"Yeah, so do I. So do a lot of people. But the majority of us aren't in a position to do anything about it." I needed a drink. I pulled a plastic bottle of cheap whiskey from the freezer and poured it into a glass. "Do you want some?" I asked, almost as an afterthought.
"God, yes."
Kimber said, and I took another glass down from the cupboard, filled it, and handed it to her. She drank half of it in one sip, which seemed to steady her. "So what do you want from me, Kimber?" I asked as she set the glass down.
"I want you to come back to Drisking with me."
I laughed and then tipped my glass back, allowing the hot sting of alcohol to unfurl down my throat.
"I'm serious, Sam."
"Yeah, the answer is a no. We'd never leave that place alive."
"We did once."
"We're not going back."
"I have a contact. You know, someone on the inside."
"Inside of what? Drisking? Borrasca? The sheriff's office?"
"They know stuff, okay? And they're willing to help us. That's all we need to know."
"No, we'd need a lot more information than that."
"And you'll get it. Later. After we get there."
"Did you really come all this way from California to ask me this? After 9 years?"
"Actually, I wasn't asking."
Kimber looked at me coolly and crossed her arms in front of her with ironclad conviction. This wasn't the Kimber I remembered. I didn't know this woman. "So, somebody told you that they were going to help you take down a very highly connected and protected crime syndicate, and you believed them?"
"I didn't say that."
"So you don't trust them?"
"I didn't say that either."
"Yeah, well, this isn't happening. We'd be dead the minute we crossed the county line."
"Are you saying you won't go?"
"Fuck no, I won't go," I said, pouring myself more vodka.
"All right."
Kimber said, and she set her glass on the table beside her.
"Well, thank you for the drink. But I have to go."
Something lurched inside of me. I couldn't let her leave, not when I'd just gotten her back, so why was I being such a dick? Wait! I took a step toward her before I realized what I'd done. Where are you going?
I told you.
She snapped as she started toward the door.
I'm going to Drisking.
I was on her before she finished her sentence and yanked her away from the door. The hell you are?
I told you I was going, Sam, and I meant it.
I didn't know you intended to go alone. That's goddamn suicide.
I don't care. It needs to end.
Why does it have to be you? I pleaded desperately. My heart began to sink as I realized I did know this Kimber. Her mind was made up, and there was no stopping her.
Who else, Sam? Who else but us? There's no one.
The thought of my best friend back at that place seared through my brain like a hot iron. I had to make Kimber see reason, even if I had to hurt her. There was no other way. So, after what Killy and Clary did to you there, after all you've suffered at Borrasca, you want to go back? She snapped her arm back from my grasp.
Yes, because there are other people still suffering as we stand here arguing about this. We shouldn't have even waited this long to try and help them.
No, wait, we can think this through. I'll try again with the FBI, the cops, Interpol, I don't know, whoever will listen.
Did that work before?
It hadn't.
Sam, if I try to report what happened to me, I'll show up on their radar immediately and be dead by morning.
No more pretensions, no more manipulations. I had to bare my soul to this girl if I wanted to stop her. Please, I said desperately. Please, Kimber, I'm begging you not to make me do this.
I'm sorry, but I'm going.
I was panicking, unable to control my breath or the pounding of my heart, which was racing to a finish line that lay somewhere in the immediate future. Fuck! I yelled and swept Kimber's vodka glass off the table to where it shattered against the wall. This didn't seem to surprise her, and Kimber kept her composure while I raged. It was over. I was going back to Drisking. I watched the vodka drip down the wall where I'd hurled it. If I wasn't so terrified, I would have been embarrassed by my outburst, but I couldn't stop the shaking. Deep breaths, one problem at a time. I need to wipe off the wall, pick up the glass, and then I could go die in Missouri. I let out a pathetic sob.
Sam, I won't let anything happen to you.
I gave her a ludicrous look. How much could such a tiny person stop anything from happening to me? Kimber had always been a little fireball, but this was madness. She raised her chin defiantly when she saw me assessing her. When are we leaving? I asked, trying to keep my voice as composed as possible. All I wanted to do was retreat into my room where I could let the fear overtake me.
In the morning.
That's crazy, Kimber. We need to plan, and I need the contact number for this source of yours. We can't just go waltzing into town after a decade.
I've had a lot of time to prepare for this. Years, in fact. Look, tomorrow, let's just get in the car and go, and I'll have the entire 8-hour drive to convince you that I have a good plan.
What's with the rush, Kimber? You trying to be dead by Christmas?
Just trust me. I'll explain everything in the car tomorrow.
You know it's already midnight.
Yeah, I know. I've been driving all day. I'm tired as hell.
You just got in today?
Yes.
From LA?
Close enough.
Jesus Christ, do you have a hotel?
Not yet.
You can stay here then. With you talking so much craziness, I don't trust your lunacy out in the city.
Fine by me.
Okay, you can take my room. Just give me a minute. Shattered whiskey glass forgotten, I left Kimber standing where she was and went back to my room. I flipped the light on and glanced around. My heart plummeted. The room was disgusting. I hadn't really looked at it in years. It was really just a place to watch TV or pass out. I couldn't remember the last time I changed the sheets or done any laundry. The girls who usually stayed over didn't care much what they were sleeping on, but this was no place for a girl like Kimber. I stripped the bed as fast as I could and herded bottles, discarded needles, and empty cigarette boxes into the closet. I realized too late that I didn't actually have anything to replace the dirty sheets. I was so overwhelmed by the last 40 minutes that I felt tears start to well in my eyes. Get a hold of yourself. I jumped at a sudden knock on the door. Seth stuck his head in.
Here.
He handed me a stack of clean, folded sheets on top of a blue quilt. I wanted to hug him, but was still attempting to get my emotions under control. Thanks.
Hey, so listen, does this mean, is all that stuff about Drisking true?
I'd never told Seth, or anyone else besides the feds, anything about Drisking. What stuff?
Oh, come on, man. I hear you talk in your sleep all the time. You say all sorts of messed up stuff. That's why I heard your friend's name before. You talked about her in your sleep.
What are you talking about? I don't even dream when I sleep.
Yeah, you do. You may not remember it, but trust me, you do.
I didn't say anything, and Seth started to leave.
Oh, one more thing. If you need anything while you're back home, just call me.
Home. Drisking was home. Since I lived in a crappy neighborhood, I walked Kimber down to her car to get her bag out of the back seat. She dropped her duffel on the thankfully dark carpet of the freshly cleaned room, which was still barely passable. At the very least, I'd know she was here and safe. I'd always wondered if Clary and Prescott were having me watched. If they were, Kimber was in danger by just being in Chicago. It was probably a good idea to leave in the morning. I settled down on the couch and pulled out my personal stash, which I'd pocketed while kicking garbage into the closet earlier. I needed it tonight of all nights, and if it was going to be one of my last, then I would make it count. 30 minutes later, I floated down the familiar river of dark, dreamless sleep. I didn't remember dreaming, but I knew I had. I woke up feeling like I'd run 30 miles, drenched in sweat and fighting to draw air with raw, ragged breaths. I sat up on the couch and rubbed my face. What time was it? Why did I feel a malicious black cloud looming over me like some sort of comic strip character? And then it all came back, crashing like waves over my head. Shit, Kimber was here, and she wanted something. I felt the fear shower me like ice-cold rain as I recalled pieces of the night before. We were going back. Kimber's bag was next to the door, and she was sitting at the table reading one of Seth's Look How Smart I Am philosophy books. As I sat up, I slid the evidence of my addiction under the couch with my foot, praying she hadn't already seen it. Kimber smiled without looking up from the book.
Morning, Sam.
Why the hell are you so chipper? You remember where we're going, right?
Yes?
She put the book down and looked over at me, beaming.
I've just missed you so much.
It was a genuine statement, and my mouth twitched into a little smile at her words. God damn it, I was happy to see her too. Buried underneath all the fear and numbing pain was a glowing euphoria. I'd never been happier than when I was with Kimber and Kyle, and one of them actually came back from the void of the past. I stood up. Just let me shower and pack, and then we can get on the road. That is, if you're still planning on going.
Yes, I am. Are you?
Yeah, it appears that I am. I had run out of arguments. Seth had already left for the day, so I locked the apartment as we headed down to Kimber's car, a 10-year-old Mazda sedan. She took my bag and threw it in the back seat next to hers and then climbed in. So, 8 hours, huh? I asked as she started the engine.
Yep, but I can probably do it in 7.
Well, fuck, don't rush on my account. Kimber pulled her sunglasses down and pulled out of the apartment complex. I looked back and wondered if I'd ever see its crumbling, graffiti-covered walls again, or if I even wanted to.
Stop staring at me.
What?
You're not as sly as you think you are.
Sorry, it's just... I never thought I'd see you again.
Neither did I.
You look good. Pretty. Like healthy. I stumbled all over my compliment. Kimber raised an eyebrow.
Thanks, I think.
You know what I mean. You look like you've done well for yourself the last 10 years. Kimber frowned and remained quiet for a minute, as if debating whether to tell me something.
I never told anyone where I came from. My mom said she had family in Anaheim, but I couldn't find them. Everyone thought I was just a runaway. Cops picked me up almost immediately and put me in a halfway house. Sorry about your car, by the way. I impounded it. I don't suppose you ever got it back.
I shrugged. No, but who cares? It was just an old Honda. Kimber threw me a sympathetic look.
I'm sorry. Anyway, the halfway house kept trying to identify me, so I ran away from there too. Eventually I got a job. Southern California is a great place to live if you don't have an ID, by the way.
I'm sure.
After that, I went to community college, and yeah, I've just been sort of biding my time.
Are you sure you just want to throw all that away to expose your rapist? Kimber winced at my words, and I immediately regretted them.
No. Him I want dead. And throw all what away? I've been planning this for an entire decade.
Well, you've still done better than me. My life's a mess.
Were you really in prison?
Yeah. She didn't say anything. Felony possession. I volunteered. Kimber nodded.
And you're still...
I knew what she was asking. Yes. So what's your plan?
Well, first we're going to rent a room just outside of town. Remember that one motel off exit 113? Prince Ridge Inn or something.
Outside of town. I like it.
And then I'm going to meet with my contact sometime tomorrow.
Right.
And then we just go from there.
Go from there?
Yep.
Kimber nodded, but wouldn't look at me. Please don't tell me this is your plan.
Our contact will give us more direction.
Your contact. Do I know this guy?
I didn't say it was a guy, and it doesn't matter.
Why wouldn't it matter?
Because this person has told me stuff that can only mean they are on our side.
Yeah, like what?
Like the sheriff's schedule.
My dad?
Yeah. He's still sheriff in Drisking.
I hadn't doubted that. What else?
Okay, well, they also told me that they know where all the records are.
What records?
You know, all the data for the Borrasca operation, the incriminating stuff.
All right.
And, well, they told me things about Kyle.
Yeah, I can tell you things about Kyle too.
Sam.
Kyle's gone.
No, he isn't.
No? Actually, yeah, because I saw him with my own eyes before I left town. Talked to him too. He's empty, Kimber. There's no one there.
You're wrong.
He's a total vegetable.
You're wrong. That's wrong. My source told me he's just sedated.
Sedated? Sedated for 9 years, Kimber?
Yes.
She said with false conviction. So your source is just telling you things you want to hear.
I believe it's true.
Kimber, I saw what they did to Kyle. They straight up beat death into him. The only part of Kyle left on this earth is his mangled body.
Stop, Sam.
I'm sorry, I can't go through this again. Not with Kyle. I've already mourned him, and you should too.
We need to know for sure.
Hold up, wait. So this little trip isn't actually about getting the records or killing the asshole or hurt you or helping those people. This is some sort of ill-conceived rescue mission, isn't it?
Partially.
So that's your rush then. You got some bad info that Kyle is alive and you're running off half-cocked to get him.
No.
Well, why don't we just go straight to his house and pick him up then, huh? We can be back on the road by dawn.
I don't know where he is. The Landys moved him.
Then where are we going? If I'm going to die for this, Kimber, I deserve to know why. She jerked the wheel to the side of the highway and slammed on her brakes. Kimber! My head cracked against the window, and I was seeing stars when I realized that Kimber was out of the car. I rubbed my head until the throbbing stopped, and then followed her to the back, where she was standing over the open trunk. Inside were dozens of guns, at least 30 of them. There were rifles, handguns, a shotgun, and boxes upon boxes of ammo. Are you planning to storm the Alamo?
Does this look like Kyle is all I'm after?
I'm actually a little scared of you right now.
I want all of this to end. I want Kyle back, yes. And it's true that that's why I showed up so suddenly. But I want more than that, Sam. I want him dead.
I understood her hatred for Clary, but if we were going to murder people, I wanted Jimmy Prescott dead as well. And when the time came, and if I was certain he was culpable, my father too. How did you get all these? Kimber shrugged.
It's taken me a few years. Lots of traveling around the Southwest to gun shows and stuff.
Okay, well, close the trunk before somebody drives by and sees your arsenal. She slammed it shut, and we got back into the car, where I sat rubbing my head and lamenting at the bump that was already forming there. When I realized Kimber hadn't started the car, I looked up to find her gripping the steering wheel tightly and staring straight out the windshield. She was fighting back tears. Kimber, I'm sorry, I said. She blinked a few times to clear her eyes. I'm being a total asshole. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I did know. My mind was cloudy from years of drug use. I had no filter, and I had problems controlling my emotions, which swung back and forth like a pendulum on a clock. And I changed just as often.
No, I never should have asked you to come. It was wrong.
She breathed the last word, and she dropped her hands from the steering wheel. Asked. She covered her face.
You're right. I manipulated you. You don't even know me anymore. You shouldn't be here.
I leaned over the center console and hugged her. Kimber recoiled at my touch like I'd delivered an electric shock. I'm sorry. Shit. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I don't like to be touched.
This was the new Kimber. I pulled out my pack of Marlboros and lit a cigarette without asking if it was okay. Kimber, I'm a piece of shit. Probably should be here, honestly. You've given me the opportunity to do something with my life. But I'm scared, and it's making me a dick. Kimber leaned back and wiped her eyes.
You really don't have that much to worry about, Sam. You're still the son of the sheriff, and he won't hurt you.
I'd considered this too, and it still made my skin crawl. Son of the sheriff. If what I suspected was true, then that would make me heir to Borrasca. My stomach lurched in revulsion. Maybe. Let's just get to the hotel and we'll decide what to do. We probably want to make as little noise as possible while we figure out where Clary and Prescott are. We don't want anybody to know we're back in town. Kimber nodded.
And the sheriff.
I didn't want to think about it. I had buried the assumptions about my father's guilt years ago under enough black tar heroin to kill a horse. I guess it was time to remember. We spent the rest of the drive avoiding the topic of drisking. We talked about people we knew, movies we'd seen. It reminded me of those days when we would sit in my car in Drisking High parking lot, listening to music and getting stoned. It made me miss Kyle, and weed. I'd given it up for the harder stuff years ago. Or, to put it more eloquently, if pot was a gateway drug, I'd left it at the gate. The closer we got to Drisking, the quieter the car became, and by the time we hit the Missouri border, we were in complete silence. It had started to snow, and Kimber was completely focused on the drive. I stared out the window until the dread of familiar things passing by made me look away. We were almost there. Kimber pulled into the Prince Ridge within the hour and got out to check us in. I stayed in the car, eyeing the other vehicles in the parking lot. Nothing I recognized, but seeing as how it had been almost a decade since I'd been home, I wasn't sure that mattered. The first exit for Drisking, and there was only 2, was only 4 miles down the highway. If Kimber considered this safe, then there was no reason to worry, right? She'd always been the smart one. I jumped as Kimber jerked the car door open and got in. She noticed.
You know I'm traveling with you, right?
I rolled my eyes. Pardon me for being a little on edge.
209.
She said, pointing up to the second floor.
I'll drive around. You look for it.
The room was at the front of the property, facing the highway. I brought our bags upstairs and then stood shivering outside in the cold while I smoked a cigarette. When I was finished, I flicked the cigarette over the railing and watched it fall into the bed of a maroon Dodge Ram. Oops. I followed Kimber inside and was relieved to see that there were 2 beds and 3 locks on the door. So far, not a complete disaster. Since it was around 6, Kimber wanted to go grab some dinner.
Fertoli's? Christians? They're both only a few miles away.
No.
Prescott Artisan Sandwiches, then.
She winked at me. No, I said, ignoring her joke. I mean, we shouldn't leave. We should order delivery or something. Kimber's casual smile fell off her face.
You're worried for no reason.
And you're homesick. Kimber's eyes slid to the floor and she sat down at the end of the bed.
Probably.
I think we need to lay low as much as possible right now.
No, you're right.
Kimber said and tucked her feet up underneath her. She turned to watch the snow fall through the window. I rubbed my temples as an ache began to ebb in like the tide around my eyelids. I needed a fix, soon.
It doesn't snow in Riverside, where I live. I miss the snow.
Move to Chicago, I said in between deep, measured breaths. It snows like 5 months out of the year. Kimber was silent, and I prayed she was studying a menu. The sooner she got on the phone for delivery, the sooner I could excuse myself to the bathroom and take the edge off.
I miss Kyle.
I looked up to see Kimber still watching the snow, her head leaning against the wall. Me too, I said after a minute. Her eyes snapped to mine as if she'd forgotten I was there.
You look hungry. I'll order pizza from Domino's. I remember what you like on it,
she said before glancing at a menu next to her on the nightstand. She picked up the phone and began dialing the number. I got up to use the bathroom and took my entire duffel bag with me. If Kimber noticed, she didn't say anything. I forced a slice of pizza down for Kimber's sake, though I wasn't hungry in the least. So tomorrow, I said, taking the bed nearest the door, what time are we meeting this person?
Well, it's just going to be me this time.
Yeah, Kimber, there's no way I'm letting you meet with some random drisking fuckwit by yourself.
I have to go alone or they won't talk to me.
Who the hell is this guy, Kimber?
I can't tell you that yet.
Is it a woman or a man? I asked. She shook her head at me. And just what is he giving you tomorrow? The files on Borrasca?
No.
Then what?
I don't actually know.
Kimber, this is crazy. I can't let you go into town alone.
Sam.
Stop being in such a fucking hurry to die. I snapped at her. Kimber's face paled and she moved further away from me on her bed.
We'll talk about this in the morning,
she whispered and then turned off the lamp. Fine. I laid in the dark for a while, and when I was sure she was asleep, I went back into the bathroom for another hit. By the time I woke up the next morning, Kimber was gone. I called Kimber 34 times in 5 minutes. It was 10 in the morning, and I hadn't heard her leave. I hadn't even woken up when she did. I cursed her and my dope in the same breath. If she didn't answer soon, I would be forced to walk the 3.5 miles to downtown Drisking and start asking around for her. A course of action that would get me noticed real quick. I paced the patio for half an hour and smoked cigarette after cigarette. Thankfully, I'd packed an entire carton. As I was pulling on my boots to leave, my phone rang. I was relieved to see Kimber's number pop up. A new addition to my phone book that would have unfurled a comforting warmth in my stomach, if I wasn't so irate. I answered. What the hell, Kimber?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sam. I had to. He wasn't going to meet with me otherwise.
Where are you?
I'm in the car. I'm almost back. They haven't plowed yet in town.
They haven't plowed the roads by 10 on a Friday morning?
I thought it was weird too. There's more. I'll tell you when I get there.
Don't get off the phone with me until you're in the parking lot.
Okay.
I opened the door and went to wait out in the cold for Kimber's car. My heart didn't slow to a normal rate until I finally saw it driving into the parking lot. She pulled into the space below our door and ran up the stairs.
I'm sorry. I had to. Don't be mad.
Are you kidding me with this, Kimber? I'm already on edge. I can barely fucking breathe.
Okay. Just sit down.
She pushed me into the room and sat me down onto the edge of the bed, pulling off her gloves. She then crouched in front of me and took me by the shoulders, looking me in the eyes.
The sheriff and most of his deputies are engaged today, which I was told means that they are up at Borrasca.
And?
And that means that A, they don't know we're here, and B, we can go into town and start discreetly looking around.
As opposed to driving up to Borrasca and killing them now? Kimber stood up.
I want them dead, Sam, more than anything. But you know what else I want? I want their crimes to be known to the world. They don't get to die with their good names. They don't get to be martyrs.
You want the records?
Yes.
What do you plan to do with them if you get them?
Upload them onto the internet or something. Send them to the FBI.
The FBI doesn't care.
We need the records, Sam. I want everyone to know what happened to us.
Okay. Maybe Seth can help.
Your roommate? How?
He does some pretty illegal stuff online. Maybe he can break into a mainframe or whatever and download the files.
So he's a hacker?
He yells at me when I call him that.
Is he any good?
I shrugged. He is well known in certain circles. She nodded.
Well, we need those files. I just need to find out where they keep them.
Are you sure they even really keep records on Borrasca? Seems like a huge liability.
An operation that size has to have records. And my source told me they exist.
Great, your source. Okay, so you want to go into town and what, ask around about them? Kimber narrowed her eyes at me.
That's idiotic. I was thinking maybe we find out where the Cleary house is and, get the information out of Grace Cleary.
I raised my eyebrow at her. You want to torture an old lady? Kimber absolutely exploded.
An old lady that helped to sexually assault, torture and murder hundreds of women over 50 years. Hell yeah, I want to torture that old lady.
All right. Look, I may know someone who might be sympathetic, and I'm reasonably sure that, unlike your contact, she's innocent of any knowledge of Borrasca. In fact, she's the one who helped me and Kyle find you. At the very least, she'll know where the Clarys live now. The drive into town took twice as long as it should have due to the snow. Why haven't they plowed these roads? I asked idly.
It's not just the roads. It's everything. A lot of stores have closed in town, buildings are in disrepair. Everything looks like shit. They don't even have any Christmas lights. It's bizarre.
That's weird. Are we even sure that Borrasca is still running? The town looks pretty destitute.
I am.
Kimber said and pointed to a bulletin board on the corner of 2nd and Osborne, which had 6 different and seemingly recent missing persons posters. What the hell is going on? I murmured as we turned onto Main and into the downtown marketplace. Everything in town was as Kimber had described, run down and ostensibly poor. What happened to this place?
I don't know, but lucky for us, the antiquities shop is still in business.
Kimber said, pointing across the road. As we parked, I zipped my parka up to my neck and lowered my hat down to my eyes. Kimber did the same. The most important thing right now was not being recognized. Mr. Dranger was still behind the antiquities counter after all these years, but gone was his air of haughtiness and pretentious stare. He regarded us coolly but professionally until it was clear we were only traveling through his shop to get to Catherine Scanlon's office at the back. He mumbled something under his breath, and though I didn't catch it, I was reasonably sure there had been no sign of recognition in his face nor his words. When we arrived at the office door of the Historic Preservation Society of Drisking, I knocked softly and listened for Catherine's voice. Instead, the door was yanked violently open by a man I'd never seen before.
"May I help you?"
he asked as he eyed us up and down. Yes, you can.
"All right then, come on in. I'm Don Wheeler. And you are?"
Kimber and I exchanged a careful look and entered the room cautiously. "Actually, we're looking for Kathleen Scanlon." I didn't like the way he was staring at Kimber.
"Oh, Miss Scanlon,"
he said, not taking his eyes from her.
"You haven't heard then?"
My stomach retched. "We haven't."
"Sad business, truly. Disappeared, 9 years ago now? 10? Most people assume she didn't take Wyatt's death well and just walked out in the woods to..."
Don Wheeler suddenly looked up and seemed to remember his audience.
"I'm so sorry. Were you all friends?"
I ignored his question and asked one of my own. "Did she ever surface again? Maybe in another state?"
"No. I'm afraid she's dead."
Don Wheeler shook his head.
"She was such a young thing, too."
"And her remains?"
"Nothing was ever found, I'm afraid."
I was starting to feel ill. "Well then, we'd better..."
Do you happen to know where the Clearys live?
Kimber interrupted.
"Grace and Killian? Of course, old friends of mine. But you must have heard..."
"Thank you for your time. We really must go. Come on, Allison." I yanked Kimber out of the room and shut the door behind us. Before I could get a harsh word out, I'd fallen against the wall, trying to quell the building panic and nausea. He knew.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. I just thought maybe...
I held a finger up as I leaned against the wall with my head between my knees, trying to compose myself. Kimber rubbed my back as I swallowed down the bile and waited for the dizziness to pass. Finally, I stood up. "We have to go." I didn't even look at Dranger as we made our way out of the shop, but I could feel him watching us. My mind briefly wandered into the past, and I wondered where his daughter was now. I'd never liked Phoebe, but I hoped she'd escaped this town. Prayed she had. The streets were busier than they'd been several minutes before when we'd entered the antiquities shop. There were several dozen people trudging through the snow down Main. I wasn't sure where they were heading since half the stores were closed and the city hadn't bothered to put up their tree this year. Kimber walked around to the driver's side door of her car. I stared over her head at the people walking across the street. I hoped that my height, beard, and skeletal-like frame disguised me well enough because people were starting to look back. I almost hoped one of them was Prescott or the sheriff. We had a trunk full of guns and I wanted this all over with. I needed to go back to the motel and bury myself in smack, and this time I didn't even want to wake up again. And then suddenly, just as Kimber sat down into the driver's seat, I did recognize someone. It was Mira Grady, and she was holding a little boy's hand, and I started to realize who that little boy was, and then I saw nothing but red. My body was moving, but I wasn't in control of it. I was suddenly walking across the street with the most intense rage I had ever felt. How dare she? How dare she? I was in front of Mira before I could get back in control. What the hell do you think you're doing? She jumped, and her eyes snapped up to my face in fear.
Excuse me?
She pushed the kid behind her. Let go of my nephew!
But who are you? This is my son.
People were stopping to watch. That is Whitney Walker's son, and you know it, you cold-blooded, callous bitch! Mira's face had gone white.
Sam?
Give me my fucking nephew, Mira! The boy started quietly crying.
What are you doing? Stop it!
Kimber was pulling at my arm, trying to turn me back towards the car, but I wasn't moving. I was seething with a fury I had suppressed for 9 years.
Owen, please!
Grady came sprinting out of the doorway of the store next door. He took one look at the situation and pushed his wife and boy behind him and raised his fist to hit me, but there was fear in his eyes. Kimber was yelling for me. Give me my nephew! I yelled at Owen in a spitting red rage, and suddenly I felt a slap across my face. The strike served its purpose. Reality began to bleed back into the world, and I realized exactly where I was and what I was doing. Kimber was standing in front of me, in between Owen and I. Her hood had fallen down in the commotion, and her hair was spilling out of her beanie and down her back in a wild, bright waterfall of crimson. She looked scared. We were exposed. Owen Grady lowered his fist and seemed to realize who I was.
Get the cops! Get the sheriff! Get him now!
I was already moving, climbing into the driver's seat of Kimber's car, leaving her no choice but to get in on the other side. She handed me the keys, and I turned the car on and hit the gas, giving no regards to the slippery roads. Kimber screamed as I fishtailed, trying to get off Main and then every corner after, desperate to escape the scene I'd caused. The car slid into a snowdrift just outside of town. I rocked the car in and out of drive and reverse until the tires finally found purchase on the road, and then we were speeding out of town again. There were no other options. I'd blown it. I knew exactly where I needed to go now.
Stop! And get out of the car, Sam! You're high! You'll kill us both! Don't do their work for them!
That was Whitney's son. That was my nephew.
Why would you think that, Sam?
Because I know. I put it together years ago. You want me to trust you and your mysterious source? Well, trust me when I say that kid was my nephew.
Okay, just slow down, please. Where are you taking us?
Where we should have gone in the first place.
No.
Kimber was shaking her head wildly.
Sam, no, we can't go there. Not yet.
Yeah, well, I have to go. They know we're here now. The sheriff will be hunting us by nightfall. It's now or never.
But the car will never make it up that road.
Oh, I'm willing to bet that road is plowed.
Going all the way up to...
Yes. I was right. Less than 2 miles away, we found that road. It was one I'd only used once. I should only barely remember. But I had seen that dirt road in my nightmares for years. It was the road I had sped down trying to save my best friend. I'd failed then. I wouldn't now. We drove up the side of the mountain in Kimber's Mazda at an unmanageable speed. I needed to get to Borrasca before the adrenaline wore off. I needed to kill them all. Clary, Prescott, my father, all the deputies, the local cops, everyone involved. And I needed to die doing it. I wanted to. But then where did that leave Kimber? The higher we got up the mountain, the clearer the air and the clearer my mind. The uncontrollable madness that had puppeted my every action for the last 30 minutes was draining away. I chanced to glance over at Kimber. Her face was as pale as a moonbeam, but her jaw was set in resolve. She was with me 100%, even though we were on a suicidal mission. My heart lurched. My death was inevitable, even acceptable, but Kimber had already suffered so much. I couldn't bring her back to Borrasca, could I? I slowed the car to a stop when I realized I couldn't remember why we were headed up to Borrasca in the first place. They knew we were here, right? No, or did they? What had I done? I couldn't remember what had happened in town, but I didn't want to admit it. Will you drive us back to the hotel? I asked as my heart slowed and the strength began to drain from my body.
No.
Kimber said softly, staring into the trees next to us. She turned to look at me.
We're already here.
The road kept winding up the mountain, but subconsciously or not, I had stopped right at the proverbial gates of the northern central mine, known as Hell on Earth to many and Borrasca to the rest. I felt paralyzed, unable to move or speak or even think. I listened intently for the sounds that had scored my nightmares, but all was as silent as death. They would know we were here. They would have heard us coming. It was now or never. "Stay in the car, Kimber," I told her, and she gave me a look I couldn't read as I opened the door. I walked to the back of the car, popped the trunk, and pulled out a 9mm Beretta I had seen when she'd showed me the guns on the highway. Checking to make sure the clip was loaded, I chambered a round. I knocked gently on Kimber's window, and she rolled it down, her eyes glued to the gun in my hand. "Stay here, and if you hear any gunfire, bolt." She gave me an appraising look.
I don't think you're in any space to do this right now.
I knelt down in the snow so that I was eye level with her. "I agree with you, but this is the only chance we've got, right?" It wasn't a rhetorical question, but she didn't know that.
Because of your antics in town.
Kimber said. She opened the car door.
I'll go with you.
"No!" I hissed into the cold mountain air, but she was already walking to the back of the car and opening the trunk. I knew any confrontation with her at this point would be loud, so I had to weigh my options carefully. Kimber pulled out the pump-action shotgun. "Do you even know how to use that?" Kimber racked the shotgun with one hand as she walked past me toward the mine.
Don't mock me, Sam. You'd be very surprised by what I know about guns.
Her point taken, I ran to catch up. "You know, if we do this now, we'll never get the records. They'll be dead, we'll be dead, but Borrasca will just continue. Maybe we should just wait."
It was your idea to come here now.
I'm having second thoughts.
But isn't that your life, Sam? A series of second thoughts and regrets.
Jeez, Kimber. This is just recon, okay? Don't get spotted and don't make a sound. The snow this far up the mountain was almost a foot drop. There would be no hiding that we had been here if we somehow got out alive. We made our way into the camp, using the trees as cover. And as we moved, I noticed that the driveway into Borrasca showed no signs of tire tracks in the new snowfall. Were they sleeping up there? Were there sentries on duty, even now, watching us? I turned around to find Kimber, but she was now more than 10 yards to my left and further away than I could hope to whisper. The closer we got to camp, the more I began to feel it. Something was wrong. Very wrong. I could see the dorms through the trees, still standing exactly as I had remembered them. However, the skinned men sign had lost a support and was buckling precariously in the middle. The large building that housed the shiny gentleman was also still standing, and the door had been left slightly ajar so that I could see the conveyor belt feeding into the machine. My blood, like everything else around me, froze to ice. Kimber was suddenly beside me, her hand clenched around the shotgun which hung at her side.
It's gone,
she said, louder than I would have liked, but she was right. It was all too quiet. "It looks that way," I croaked and bent over at the waist to quiet a sudden dizziness. She turned to look at me, wide-eyed and panicked. Tears began to well at the corners of her eyes. I stood up to give her a hug and she pushed me away.
It's gone. It's all gone.
I took a few deep breaths. "Let me look around. We should check the dorms." Kimber tried to swallow a sob and I glanced over at her. Had I really just suggested we walk back into the dorms after what had happened to her there? Was I that cruel? I gently pushed the shotgun up and close to her chest. "Stay here." I stepped out into the clearing in no particular hurry. If I was going to get shot, I sure as hell wasn't going to die cramped and tired. But the air in the camp was still, and no bullets came out to meet me. I wanted to get in and out of the dorm as fast as possible. This was a terrible place. So much suffering, so much pain and death. If there was no enemy to kill, then I wanted to step off the hollowed grounds as quickly as I could and get the hell out of there. I opened the same door that Kyle and I had first gone into almost 10 years before. The stench still lingered, drifting in the stale air and mingling with the fear and tension that had yet to dissipate after a decade. But the beds were gone. I went quickly from room to room and verified that the building was completely empty. Kimber saw me emerge from the other door and I gave her a shake of my head. I was only a few steps away from the building when I began to feel dizzy again. My vision narrowed and I started to lose control. The last thing I heard was Kimber's voice as she screamed my name, and then came the familiar, welcoming darkness. I could feel I was moving before I even opened my eyes. It was the gentle, swaying cadence of a car on the highway. Instead of coming awake slowly like I'd prefer, I bolted upright in a panic. Kimber was driving, and she didn't look away from the road. "Are you okay?"
No.
I was starting to remember what had happened on the mountain. I'm sorry." Kimber didn't respond. "Did I walk to the car?" I was sure I knew the answer, but I hoped I was wrong.
You were dragged to the car.
It was actually impressive that she could drag a full-grown man through 200 yards of snow. I was constantly underestimating Kimber. "Look," I rubbed my face and realized my hands were like ice. I laid them over the heaters on the dashboard. "I mean, the good news is that Borrasca is gone. No one is suffering anymore."
No one? Me! Me, Sam! I'm suffering!
Her voice was scratchy. It was obvious that she'd been crying, and judging by the current time, probably for hours. "I'm sorry, that's not what I meant."
You don't get it. If Borrasca is gone, then that means my source lied. He lied. Not just about Borrasca, but about everything.
"Yeah, okay, but we knew that was always a possibility."
A possibility, yes, but I still had hope. Hope that he was right about everything. Hope that there was a chance Kyle would come back.
"Look, we need to accept the facts, okay? Borrasca is gone, dismantled. It clearly hasn't been there for years, so either your source doesn't actually know anything or he's trying to trick you for some reason. But either way, Kimber, he's lying to you." She slammed her hands on the steering wheel and openly sobbed. "I'm sorry, Kay. I should have realized Borrasca was gone. With the town gone to shit and everything, why did he even want us there? This guy, who is he?"
It doesn't matter anymore.
"Yes, it does. It sure as hell matters to me. Who is your source, Kimber?" She shook her head but said nothing. "God damn it, Kimber, why don't you trust me? I was fully prepared to die by your side today, but you still don't trust me."
I trust you, Sam. I do. I know you would never intentionally hurt me. But you have completely given up on everything. Your life, yourself, and on me. You're irrational and unpredictable. If it was just my life at risk, I would tell you everything he told me. But this is about Kyle, too.
"And what else did he tell you, Kimber? What other promises did he make?" She shrugged and wiped the tears away from her face.
He said he had seen some medical records and that he could get them for me. Medical information for some of the Borrasca-born babies in town. And my mom. And Kyle.
"Kyle. Always back to Kyle."
He was our friend, Sam.
"Yeah, he was my best friend, and I watched him get beaten to death and I saw the aftermath. You're being fooled, Kimber. Stop torturing yourself. He's gone." I didn't want to pick at my motivations for believing it so adamantly, but I saw in the ether of my mind the raw truth of it. I knew that the real reason I was so sure Kyle was brain dead was because I couldn't bear the thought that I had been wrong, and that I had left my best friend alone in this den of monsters. I couldn't handle any more guilt in this life.
I know that now.
Kimber said, the sobs racking her body.
I know he's gone.
But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. I was a monster now too, driven by the unseen. And what would you have done if Kyle was just sedated, Kay? No, I really want to know.
What do you mean? I would get him out of here.
And then, when you told him the truth about who he is, about who you are, you read the same letter I did. Things can never be the same between you.
I would never tell him any of that.
Her eyes were red from crying, and her fair skin was already so pale. She seemed so delicate, but I knew she wasn't. I knew she could take more. I wanted to push her buttons. I wanted her to hit me, scream at me, push me out of the car on the interstate. I needed the pain. I deserved it all and more. Then I would tell him, because it would be cruel to lie to him.
No! It would be cruel to tell him the truth. He can never know, Sam. Never.
You have to tell him, Kimber. He's your brother.
No.
Kimber was beginning to shudder.
Stop. No. Please.
If this was really your plan all along, then Kyle is lucky he's dead.
No.
Kimber was now shaking so badly, it looked like she was about to have a seizure. She was beginning to lose control of the car. What the hell was I doing, and why? I pushed my fingers to my temples. I wanted to die, but I didn't want her to die. I had to get her to stop the car. Pull over, I said quietly. I had to get her to calm down.
Screw you!
Pull over, Kimber! I reached over to grab the wheel, but Kimber slammed on the brakes and we were suddenly skidding to the side of the road. This time, I didn't hit my head. As it turned out, Kimber had buckled me into the car. The Mazda bumped up against the metal gate that lined this side of the highway, and Kimber threw the car in park. She laid her head and arms on the steering wheel and bawled like I hadn't seen her since her mother died. I sat next to her and watched her pain, stunned by my own callousness and cruelty. I loved this girl like a sister, more than I had even loved my own. Why was I trying to hurt her? I was so out of control. The monster inside me begged me for a fix, and if I didn't feed it soon, it would continue to control me, and I would get us both killed.
What do you want from me, Sam?
Kimber whimpered. I held up my hand to touch her back, but remember that Kimber didn't like being touched, least of all by me.
They took everything from me. My mom, you, my body, my ability to ever have babies. I can't let them take Kyle too, Sam. If there's even a chance.
She looked up at me then.
Do I not deserve a sliver of happiness, even just a little before I die? What did I do that was so wrong? Why does God hate me?
I shook my head. I had no words.
Why do you hate me?
I don't. Oh God, I don't, Kimber. I'm so sorry. I'm a piece of shit. I felt like I had apologized to her every hour or so since she'd come to Chicago. She deserved better than me. She deserved Kyle, but I knew she'd never get him. Why don't you let me drive back to the hotel?
The hotel? Why would we go back there? They know we're here. We're almost to the border. Let's just get out of Missouri.
But what about our stuff? My heroin. Kimber wiped her eyes.
Buy new stuff. It's not worth your life.
But we were 7 hours from Chicago, and I knew I was less than half an hour away from a meltdown if I didn't get back to the hotel. Look, we'll just go back real quick and I'll run up and get our stuff. I'm poor, Kimber. I need my stuff. I could tell by the thinly veiled look of pain she gave me that she knew the real reason I wanted to backtrack to the Prince Ridge. And then her eyes sort of doled over like her soul was melting away.
Sure, I don't care anymore. The person I came here for is gone. I'm going to sleep.
Kimber crawled into the back seat and curled up into a ball. I'll make it quick, I said, and moved over into the driver's seat. I could hear Kimber crying all the way back to Drisking. The hotel was quiet. No police presence, no note on our door, no blinking light on the phone. Nothing to confirm that we had indeed been outed. Kimber tiredly climbed the stairs to the room and lay down on the bed as I loaded everything into the car. I let her lie there while I locked myself in the bathroom to get high. When I came out, she seemed to be asleep. Kimber, come on, we've got to go. Nothing. Kimber. I walked over and shook her.
No, I'm not going anywhere. You can go. Take my car. Just leave me here.
I wanted to argue with her, but my eyes were already so heavy as the H breathed sweet euphoria into my body. I laid down on the other bed and enjoyed the high for a while. If we were going to be killed in our sleep that night, I wanted it to be like this. I dreamt of nothing but blackness, which is what the dope bought me. But slowly, I became awake in the darkness to the sound of piercing metal screams floating down from the mountains. Echoes of a beast already slain, but still haunting me, hunting me. The nightmares were back. I turned my head toward the window and watched the snowflakes that were falling through the fluorescent light over our door. No one had come in the night to kill us. I closed my eyes and enjoyed the feeling of heaven still coursing through me. It was a feeling I loved, waking up high, enjoying it for a few minutes, and trusting that it'd cradle me back to sleep and make me whole in the night. It was a monster I never wanted to kill. It encompassed me. The metal whirling started up again. I opened my eyes to the window, as if expecting to see the shiny gentleman sitting outside of it, covered in snow. Was it real? It was hard to tell. I began nodding off again, and then I heard it a third time. The shiny gentleman was quieter than it had been 9 years before, but it was still there, still alive, floating down through the black mountains to my door. I concentrated. My head tried to wander, but I focused on the noise again and again until I was sure. It was real. When I opened my eyes, sunlight was peeking through the curtains. I turned over to look at Kimber's bed. She had her back to me and was still curled into a ball above the covers. It didn't look like she had moved since the night before. "Kimber?" She didn't respond. "Kimber."
What do you want, Sam?
"I heard it last night. The shiny gentleman." I took a deep breath. "Borrasca's still there." She was silent for a moment and then slowly rolled over to look at me.
I didn't hear anything.
"I did, I swear. It's quieter, like it's farther away, but it was still there." Kimber sighed and then sat up. She looked at the clock. 7:53 a.m.
I don't think you heard anything at all.
I furrowed my eyebrows. "I know what I heard, Kay." She shrugged and got out of bed.
I'm sure you believe it.
She said as she shrugged off her parka. "Kimber," I said, leaning up on one elbow.
You saw it yourself, Sam. They're gone. It's over. I haven't heard I haven't heard that sound once in 3 days that we've been here.
"But I did."
I think you probably dreamt it. Sam,
"What?"
you drifted off again. I'm sick of this shit from you. Your fucking addiction has turned you into a different person.
She pointed at my bag, and I knew that she knew exactly how often I'd been getting high. "Of course I'm a different person. You haven't seen me in a decade."
You know, that's not what I meant. I'm talking about the heroin. You're killing yourself, Sam. You look like a ghost already.
Kimber threw the parka on a chair and wound a scarf around her neck. She sat cross-legged on the tattered chair in the corner of the room. "Is this an intervention? Because better friends have tried." Lies.
This isn't even about the drugs anymore. I can't rely on you. You make yourself a fucking liability. Nodding off, passing out, not at all in control of yourself. Always needing a fucking fix. And you're mean. Vicious, even. You forget things that happened hours or even minutes before. I needed you here, Sam. And you let me down.
"I didn't ask to come on this little mission of yours. I told you no back in Chicago."
No one put a gun to your head.
"Well, you may as well have. I wasn't going to let you go alone and get yourself killed."
So you come with me and put my life in danger every chance you get. Just forget it. This was all for nothing anyway. They know we're here. They haven't even attempted to stop us because they know how powerless we are. We can't do anything because there is nothing left to expose. We got outsmarted.
"I heard the mill last night. They just moved it is all."
You didn't hear anything. You were unconscious.
"I know what I fucking heard."
You're too high to even realize where we are half the time. You haven't been sober in days, maybe weeks, maybe even years.
She was right. I haven't been sober since prison, and even when I was in, I was usually high on something. It had been so long. "What do you want from me, Kimber?" For most of the conversation, Kimber had been staring out the window, but now she turned her head and looked straight into my soul as if this was the question she'd been waiting for.
I want you to give me Sam back. My Sam.
Her words cut deep, so I laughed at them.
I want to be able to trust what you say and be able to tell you things too. I know you would never lie to me, Sam. But when you're high, I can never tell if what you're seeing and hearing is real. I'm not even totally sure that it was Mira that you were screaming at yesterday.
It was, wasn't it?
I wanted to tell you who my contact was in Drisking. I wanted you to talk to him. He wants to talk to you. And there are things I wanted to tell you. Things I may as well tell you now since it's over anyway.
Like what?
Killian Cleary is dead, Sam.
What? When?
8 years ago.
How?
I don't know.
My heart broke for Kimber. Clary was dead and she had known it. Kimber should have been able to confront her abuser, cut his dick off, kill him if she felt the need to. And now she would never have that chance. And she'd known it all along. Kimber.
Just stop, Sam. There's more. You know Ambercott Fort and the Triple Tree. They're gone. Someone burned that shit to the fucking ground years ago. There was unrest in Drisking. We could have used that. But that's not even remotely the worst thing. The worst truth of all is this. I didn't come out here to expose that fucking baby farm. I should have, but I didn't. I didn't even come out here to kill my...
She was tripping over her words as she tried to breathe in between them.
the man who hurt me. But I really, really wanted to. The reason I came out here was to find out the truth about Kyle or die trying. And I couldn't even do either of those things. I don't know where Kyle is, and I'm still alive to live with that pain. So I knew I could never fight all of this.
I wanted to hug Kimber so badly, but I knew she wouldn't want it.
But you could have. That's the worst thing. You could have. I brought you out here to do what I can't. Expose them. Kill them. Help all those women we left here 9 years ago. I'm too weak to do it. Too broken. The only person I could have helped was Kyle. I thought you could handle everything else. It sounds fucking stupid now.
No, it doesn't. You're stronger than you think, Kimber.
So are you.
I didn't know if she was right. I had monsters I couldn't kill, and she was stronger than I would ever be. But she was hurting, and I inflicted so much of that pain. Kimber had been buried under all these burdens alone. She was trying to carry all the weight of Borrasca and Kyle by herself, and I had just made her burdens heavier. She couldn't afford my weakness on this campaign, but she still bore it. Just like when we were kids. Kimber was the glue that held everything together. She was even holding me together. But the glue was cracking, and Kimber was about to shatter, and I was the one making the final swings of the hammer. I had to listen to her now. She was telling me that she needed me. She needed me, not who I had become. It had been so long since anyone had needed me for anything, and those women all those years ago. What was it that I had promised them? I would come back and help you all, I promise, as soon as I find Kimber. Well, Kimber was here, and so was I. And so were they, despite it all. I was sure of what I'd heard. I needed to be better. I needed to be better for her and Kyle and all of those I'd left behind. If Borrasca was still there, it meant that maybe Kimber's source was telling the truth about Kyle, and that meant there was hope. But not if I remained the sickly, unpredictable heroin addict that I'd let myself become. Kimber, in my bag, in the side pocket, rolled up in a pair of pants, there's tinfoil. Dump everything inside of it in the toilet. I swallowed. And flush it. Kimber's dark expression lightened a fraction, and she stood up uncertainly, then went to my bag and found the heroin where I told her it would be. She unwrapped the tinfoil, and I watched the sadness cross her face when she saw the size of the brick. It takes a lot for me.
Are you sure about this?
Was I? No. I hated almost everything about the idea, and my body was already recoiling at the thought. Yes. Kimber came back from the bathroom and sat down on the edge of the bed.
What do I do now?
I've actually only done this once, and only for a few days. The next 24 hours are going to suck for us both. I can go sleep in the car for a few days if...
No, Sam, I'm going to be here.
Okay, well, here's what you can expect. I'm going to be a total asshole. Kimber rolled her eyes.
Check.
I'm going to feel cold all the time. She looked over at the thermostat, which was currently set at 84.
Check.
I'm going to be in pain, a lot of it. I'm going to sleep like shit. She gave me a sympathetic look.
Check.
And I'm probably going to ask you to find me dope.
I wouldn't even know where.
And I'll know that, but I'll ask anyway. This will probably start in a few hours and peak sometime tomorrow, but I'm a heavy user, so it could be a few days. How long are we checked into this hotel?
It's open-ended.
Well, that's good. Kimber crawled over the bed to where I was sitting, and for the first time since we were kids, she put her arm around me and lay her head on mine.
You're going to be okay, Sam. You're stronger than you know.
I believed her, but the question for me wasn't whether I could do it. With Kimber at my side, I knew I could. The real controversy was who would appear on the other side. I hadn't been sober since I was a teenager, and I had no idea who I was going to be in 3 days. I glanced over at the thermostat and pulled the quilt up higher on my body. I was already feeling a chill. I was true to my word, much to Kimber's distress. By that evening, I was clawing at the walls, and I didn't shut my eyes even once that night due to the pain in my back. Kimber tried to soothe me, put on movies she thought I would like, and curled up next to me at night. But the real comfort was just her presence, even in spite of her insistence that I drink water every hour that I couldn't keep down. I refused food through the next day, but she finally got me to swallow something in the evening. That night I slept, and I lived in dreams so real they were almost lucid. More than once, Kimber woke me up because I was crying or shouting. The day after that, I laid in bed all day and didn't move other than to limp to the bathroom. My back was still burning in pain, though the rest of my body was freezing. Kimber, not knowing what else to do, turned the heater all the way up to 95 degrees. She was down to a tank top and underwear, but still I shivered. The following morning, I woke up with no memory of the night before. Kimber told me she'd only woken me up once from my nightmares. It was the fourth day I had been clean, and though I was still aching and going through heavy withdrawals, my mind felt more clear. Reality was painfully bright and raw, and my actions over the last week were agonizing to remember. I apologized to Kimber about what I had said and done so often that it went from amusing her to downright annoying. I had smoked half a carton in the days I'd been detoxing, and my throat felt like a smokestack on a coal train. With my new clarity came some raw realizations. I started to notice Kimber on her phone throughout the day, her expressions dubious and worried. I wanted to ask, but I couldn't focus on too much intricacy yet. We ate more pizza that day. I kept down an entire 2 slices, and Kimber made me drink liters of water, which also stayed down. As we neared the week mark, Kimber started sleeping in her own bed again. I was remembering some of my dreams, and while most of them were nightmares from years before, I also had some pleasant dreams. Of Whitney, of my mother. I was feeling again, and though it hurt more often than not, I realized that not all feelings are bad. It was something I had forgotten during my many years of numbness. The dreams of my family awakened in me an unrelenting ache that I couldn't ignore. I wanted to see them again, my sister and my mother. One was impossible, the other maybe not entirely. The fact that I was less than 10 miles away from my mother at any given time warmed me during the cold nights. And then finally, I felt my physical strength begin to return. I was allowing myself to take ibuprofen for the pain, which was not unlike hurling a dart at an elephant. I was getting out of bed, sleeping through the night, and my mind was as crystal clear as ice. The more I thought about our situation, the angrier I became. But it wasn't the festival of rage that had been my life up until that moment. It was a simmering, controlled ire that I was able to rein in and compartmentalize, ready to execute at my leisure. With the mental clarity, I became even more convinced that what I had heard that night was real. They, whoever they were now, had simply moved their operation. I told Kimber my belief, but as much as she wanted to believe her source was legit, I knew she was afraid of hoping again. 9 days after the incident on the mountain, I came out of the shower to find Kimber pacing and sliding worried glances my way. "What's the matter?" I asked as I towel dried my hair. "Hey, do you think the front desk here sells razors?"
I don't know. I'll ask.
I could tell she wanted to say more, but hesitated. "What is it?"
My contact.
"Yeah, what about him?"
He's on his way here.
"What? How? You told him where we were?"
No, he already knew. It's no secret, I guess.
"Well, that's comforting. Why is he coming here?"
Because he wants to know what the holdup is.
"What holdup? What does he want from us?"
From you, actually?
I thought this guy was just giving us hospital records and pointing us toward whatever server the Borrasca database was sitting in.
He's...
I made a wild gesture with my hands, begging her to continue.
We're never gonna get those records from him, Sam.
"What?" She glanced out the window and crossed her arms.
I'm sorry. We never were. He's offering something different. And he's here.
"I don't like this, Kimber," I said as I stood up from the bed. I heard someone climbing the stairs outside. Heavy footfalls indicated a large man, or possibly somebody who just walked like a Neanderthal. Kimber opened the door before he could knock, and Jimmy Prescott walked in. Fuck! I'd been keeping the 9mm next to the bed, but had moved it during my withdrawals in case I wanted to shoot myself in the head. He was currently in the bathroom, completely out of reach.
Holy shit. Look at you. Sam Walker. Did you know you look exactly like your dad?
What the fuck is he doing here, Kimber? I seethed. She was standing in the corner next to the door, arms crossed and a grim expression on her face.
Oh, don't be mad at her, Walker. She was just conducting business. You want something, I want something. It doesn't need to be personal, right, sweetheart?
He turned and gave her an oily smile that made my still delicate stomach churn in revulsion.
Just talk.
Kimber ordered.
All right. Will you want to give the men some privacy then, princess?
Jimmy asked, sitting down on the sofa by the door.
I'm not leaving you alone with him.
She told Jimmy. He shrugged, and before I even realized what he was holding, he had shot Kimber with some sort of taser. She fell to the floor immediately and convulsed a few times before going limp.
Women, right?
My heart dropped to my feet, and I lunged toward Prescott. He casually swung the taser around to point at me.
Settle down, Prince Charming. She's fine. We've been trying out some non-lethal stuff up at the stables.
He rolled it around in his hand and smiled.
I think I like this thing.
Thanks, Sam. What do you do next? Get him to talk? Buy yourself some time? Why would Kimber want to talk to you? What did you tell her?
Nothing really. Threw her a bone on that Landy kid we stomped to death way back when. Well, you remember. You were there. Shit, I almost forgot about that. No, anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I told her I could give her some information on that kid's condition. You know, give her some hope. Gave her some information about that sheriff, too.
All the information you have given her is useless or total bullshit.
She played her part. I'm done with her now. But I am willing to fulfill my end of the bargain with you.
Jimmy smiled. What bargain?
We'll get to that.
Jimmy said as he pulled out a cigarette and lit it with a red Zippo. Fine. You told Kimber that Killian Clary's dead. Is that true? Jimmy laughed.
As a doornail.
Why did you kill him?
You think I killed him? He was a useful and loyal business partner. Why would I kill him?
Because you're a hothead, that's why. Jimmy reclined back in his chair and took a long draw on his cigarette.
You really don't know anything, do you? The mine is under new management.
What the hell does that mean?
It means there's a new sheriff in town, kid.
I swallowed the bile that rose in my throat. Sheriff Walker? What reason would he have to murder Clary?
Because Killian gave the orders to send Walker's daughter to meet the shiny gentleman.
I shook my head. I can't believe she was working with you.
Believe it, kid.
You're not going to give us the files you keep on Borrasca, are you?
Hell no, son. That would incriminate me and my entire family.
And the medical records for Kyle and Andestarl?
Trust me, there's nothing in there that would help you.
So what are you offering us?
The chance to take down your father.
Jimmy put his cigarette out directly on the glass coffee table next to him and leaned forward. Why would you want that?
Look around, kid. This town is a piece of shit, white trash, poor, filthy shadow of what it once was. When Walker took over, he changed the whole business model. We used to provide a service. It was messed up the way we did it, I'll admit that. But in the end, people got to live in a rich town and raise families like they did before the water got all fucked up. Drisking was a nice little place people could be proud of. Even you got to admit that.
Drisking was a facade. None of that was real.
It was real to them, to your teachers, your friends, even Mira and Owen Grady. I heard you scared the shit out of them a couple of weeks ago. Man, when I heard that story, I was laughing so hard. Didn't think you'd give up your anonymity so quick, seeing as that's the only thing you had going for you. Other than me, of course.
Jimmy Prescott was off his rocker. I felt like my skull was going to crack from the audacity of it all. Working with Jimmy Prescott was the definition of suicidal insanity.
Anyway, kid, so yeah, your dad comes in, big dick on campus, and flips the whole system on its head. Suddenly we're running a sex trade operation. The higher-ups are happy because now they get girls and more money than before. Walker don't really care about money long as they keep supporting them, so every dollar we make from the stables goes right into the pockets of the upper echelons. No more money for the town, no more babies for the family. The Prescott legacy is in ruins. It's all straight up sex trafficking now. It's just unseemly, if you ask me.
And you're sure the sheriff is involved in all this?
Involved? He's running it, kid. Did you listen to anything I said?
And you want me to kill him? Jimmy tipped his hat in my direction.
I'd be much obliged.
Why can't you do it? I said, watching Kimber out of the corner of my eye. She still hadn't moved.
Because you're the only person on Earth who has a prayer of killing your daddy.
If you really believe that, you're dumber than I thought. You've got the wrong kid, Prescott. My dad would kill me without thinking twice. It's Whitney he loved. A shudder ran down my spine. Loved was not the right word.
Nah, I don't believe that. He could have had you killed already, spouting off in town like you did about stolen babies. He'd left you alone out here, hasn't he? He knows where you are. The whole sheriff's office does. But they're prohibited from moving on you, on his orders.
That doesn't make any sense. I mean, why? Prescott shrugged.
No idea. I think it's probably just a game. You don't play until you cross the city limits. Walker had a thing about playing sick games with his kids. It's disgusting if you ask me.
We have very different ideas about what's disgusting.
I think you'll change your mind on that before you leave town.
You actually think the sheriff would let me get close to him knowing I had a gun and intended to kill him?
I think there's a chance. He likes games. And anyway, I'm certain he'd hesitate to kill you. You're his only son and all that.
And let's say I do manage to kill him. Wouldn't his deputies just shoot me?
Nah, I've got a promising coup in the works. Been planning this for years. A fair number of his people are loyal to me.
Even if that's true, you'd just kill me once it's over.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Why not? You'd be in charge, so why keep me alive? I want Borrasca exposed. I want all you sick fucks in jail.
Kid, I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to do paperwork or give a shit about how the money is handled or where it goes. You could do that, though. I say we take down the sheriff and install you as Big Dick on campus. Pussy for miles, son. And you can't be getting a lot these days walking around looking like you do.
Screw you. I would never be interested in this deal, and I don't understand why Kimber thought I would be.
Well, I never actually told her the part about putting you in charge.
Well, then what part did you tell her?
I promised her that I'd tell her where her boyfriend was. And I told her she'd have a shot at killing her rapist.
He's already dead.
Nah.
Jimmy leaned back and put his arms behind his head.
He isn't.
My brain ran into a brick wall. I couldn't understand what the hell he was trying to tell me.
Don't look at me, kid. She wasn't assigned to me.
And then it clicked. I threw up before I could stop myself, and the vomit ran down my pants to the floor.
Sick, kid.
You tell the sheriff I'm fucking coming for him.
I like your fury, son. Harness that shit. But you're gonna need a lot more than blinding rage. Here.
Jimmy dropped a folded piece of white paper onto the coffee table next to his pile of cigarette ash.
These are the coordinates to the new operation. Use your phone or something. I can't wait to see what you cook up. Just remember, I need him dead, not incapacitated.
He opened the door and walked out, and then stopped abruptly on the other side of the threshold.
Oh, and the sheriff always wears a bulletproof vest. Always. Probably even when he's fucking his wife.
He laughed at his own joke and then shut the door behind him. As soon as it clicked, I stumbled over to the door and locked it with both deadbolts. Then I collapsed against it and crawled over to Kimber, who hadn't so much as moved since she'd been tased. I was worried he had it on too high of a setting for her small frame. I rolled Kimber over onto her side, a life-saving maneuver that an addict like me would need to know. And when I was satisfied that she was still breathing, I dragged a pillow down from the bed and shoved it underneath Kimber's head. I wanted to punch something, or break something, or beat someone to death. Not just anyone, my father. The man Kimber had known since she was 9 years old. The man who had watched her grow up with his own son. Why was I surprised after what he had done to Whitney? I had to kill my monsters. I would kill him too. And perhaps worst of all, Kimber hadn't told me. She had kept it all to herself to protect me from the pain. I was a spitting image of my father. I had known it, and Prescott had confirmed it. but she never recoiled from me in disgust or looked at me with fear. I knew the sheriff had to die. Jimmy Prescott, the sick, twisted man that he was about to get exactly what he wanted, but I knew I couldn't let him live either. Prescott couldn't keep me alive. I was a liability. He knew that, and he knew that I knew that. He was simply gifting me a lie I could use to comfort myself while I prepared to go through with it all. Because I knew if Jimmy Prescott was coming to me for help, that meant he had completely lost control of the situation. And if Jimmy, with all his money and influence, couldn't have the sheriff killed, no one could. Except maybe me. On the long shot bet that my father harbored any remaining parental feelings for me. I had the beginning tethers of a strategy, but soon I would have a full plan. And I knew for damn sure that it couldn't involve Kimber. I wasn't going to bring her to the mine with me. I'd put her in too much danger already. I had to figure out how to execute this perfectly, because perfectly was the only way it was going to work. But for now, I would just lie on the floor as the throbbing body ache ate at my coherence. A sharp pain began to push into my back between my shoulder blades. Man, I only had a few days left to live, and I didn't want to die sober. I didn't want to feel anything that you feel when you die. I wanted to be high as the fucking stars when my time came. I had earned that at least, hadn't I? The sheriff knew I was here. Prescott was getting impatient. Time was running out. I pulled my phone out of my vomit-soaked jeans and dialed a familiar number. Yo, man, I need a favor. Kimber stirred next to me. She rolled over onto her back and started to sit up. Whoa, slow down. Easy.
What happened?
She looked down at her sweater in a panic.
Did I get shot?
Yeah, with a taser. You can thank Jimmy Prescott for that one.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Sam, are you okay? Did he... What happened?
I'm fine. Kimber stood up and looked around the room.
He's gone?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, Sam, I
waved my hand dismissively. I know why you did what you did, Kimber. Prescott is a key player, and it's smart to listen to someone that high up who wants to be an informer.
Yeah, but was it worth it? Did he give you any good information?
He gave us the location of the new camp they're using.
So it's true. Do you trust him?
No, but I trust these coordinates are correct, and I trust that he really does want the sheriff out.
Did he tell you anything else?
I couldn't admit it to her that after everything she had done to protect me from it, I'd found out the truth anyway. No, just a lot of bullshit and random tangents. You know Jimmy.
So what's the plan? We go in there, guns blazing?
Yeah. Liar. She wouldn't be coming on this particular suicide mission.
When?
As soon as I get my package from Chicago. As soon as I get you somewhere safe. As soon as we have a plan.
Okay. And did he say anything about Kyle?
I didn't have the heart to say it out loud. I simply shook my head. Kimber nodded and was quiet for a few minutes. I watched her in her struggle. I remembered Kimber well enough to recognize that she was searching for something inside, something to fight for. It was such a Kimber thing to do.
Okay, what do we do now?
We need to inventory what's in the trunk so I know what I'm working with.
We?
Yeah, we.
Okay, what else?
Well, I don't think Prescott is the only person who knows what room we're in at this motel. Let's go down to the front desk and see if they'll swap us to a room at the back of the building. On the first floor if possible, in case a quick escape is needed. We'll keep parking in the front though.
Yes, right. Very clever, Sam. I'm almost impressed.
Yeah, I guess I'm smarter than I look.
That's not what I meant. You're different when you're you know? Without the drugs, you're cunning, strategic. It's going to make all the difference in the end.
I shrugged. I really didn't know who I was yet. I was cold a lot and very stiff. My movements felt unnatural. The sunlight that covered the walls of the room from dawn until dusk every day was garish and off-putting to me. Everything felt very raw and sharp and unfamiliar. But for the first time in so long, I was able to remember every minute of my day. My motivations were all so much clearer and more coherent. Keep the monsters dead, kill my father, and above all, maintain Kimber's safety at all costs. We pulled the car around to the back of the building and inventoried Kimber's arsenal that afternoon. There were 2 bulletproof vests and 27 guns in total. 7 rifles, 2 shotguns, and 18 handguns, including the Beretta I always kept on me. Kimber had 460 rounds of assorted cartridges. I spent most of the following 2 days pretending to plan with her and waiting for my package to arrive from Chicago. I was beginning to feel so guilty for planning to leave her behind that I wondered if maybe it was even cruel. She wanted vengeance. She deserved it. But Kimber had already suffered so much. She shouldn't have to die for revenge, not when I could do it for her. The death I would receive at Borrasca was a death I didn't deserve, an honorable one. I could live with that. And then one day, Kimber got a call from the front desk while I was in the shower. The package had arrived, and I wasn't there to intercept the front desk from letting her know. I hated hiding anything from Kimber, especially now, but I knew that if she found out about the mysterious package, she may realize that I was planning something without her. When I came out of the bathroom, the package was sitting on my bed, unopened. Kimber was draped casually over the armchair, watching something on TV as if nothing were wrong. I could only be so lucky. I didn't comment and gently moved the box to the area between the bed and the wall where I kept my duffel bag. I took a deep breath. I'd almost been dreading this day because now that the package was here, things were going to start moving very quickly. 2 days, I said aloud.
2 days?
Kimber asked without taking her eyes from the screen. We do this on Wednesday. I couldn't believe I actually knew it was a Monday. It was the little things that continued to impress me. Kimber kicked her feet off the bed and sat up in the armchair.
Are we really ready?
We'll have to be. Our plan is solid and we're running out of money. We need to make a move. We can't just wait for them to forget we're here.
Do you think we should drive a few towns over and pick up more ammo?
No, if we can't do it with 500 rounds, we can't do it at all. I need Prescott's number so I can ask when the sheriff will be on the mountain. I've mapped the coordinates he gave us, and it'll take just under 40 minutes to get there.
I'll find out,
she said and pulled out her phone. No, I don't want him having access to you anymore. Once was bad enough.
Sam, I can handle this. I got us this far, didn't I?
Kimber, you know what that man has done.
Yes. Better than you do, Sam.
Give me the number. We stared each other down for a few minutes, both refusing to back off.
Why are you trying to take me out of the equation?
She asked finally. I'm not. I lied. Kimber glared at me angrily and then threw her phone at my head.
Get it yourself.
She sat back in the chair and watched me as I picked her phone up from the floor and imported the number into my own.
I know you wouldn't leave me at this fucking hotel, Sam.
Of course not. I wouldn't go without you. Liar.
Fine. Then I need to tell you that before we kill Jimmy, I want him to tell us where they're keeping Kyle.
What? I sent the text to Prescott and then pulled the 9mm out from under my pillow where I kept it, and I checked the clip for the 100th time, counting the bullets. What do you mean, where they're keeping Kyle?
I told you about this, but I'm not surprised you don't remember. Kyle isn't at the Landies. He hasn't been for years. Otherwise, I would have gone and got him when we first came into town.
Jimmy told you this?
Yeah. He said he's either in a home or a care center or a hospital or something. Maybe not even in Drisking at all. Prescott wouldn't tell me. But I know he knows, and he promised to tell me if we could kill the sheriff. I assume you plan to kill Jimmy, too. And I want to know where Kyle is before you do.
I nodded. I had to give her this. I would give her this. I'd make sure to beat it out of Prescott before I killed him. How to get that information to Kimber before I was gunned down, I didn't know, and I had precious little time to figure it out. My phone chimed. It was Jimmy.
Who the hell is this?
Sam Walker.
Where's the Distaro girl?
You talk to me now.
Hey, it really is you.
When will the sheriff be at Borrasca?
Nobody calls it that, prick.
When will he be there, Jimmy?
Your daddy is heading up to the stables tomorrow morning. I assume he'll stay a while. Has a couple of girls he really likes up there right now. You know how it is when you get a new piece.
The sheriff is going up to the mine tomorrow morning, and he'll probably be there for a few days, I told Kimber.
Perfect,
she said, but her tone betrayed her. I could hear uncertainty in her voice and fear. I wished I could tell her that she was safe and that nothing was going to happen to her, but she couldn't know that yet. We'll make our move Wednesday morning, just before dawn. It should be dark enough to see, yet still maintain decent cover. Kimber nodded and then stood up and began to pace around.
We need to do a lot of prep tomorrow. Figure out how many guns we can carry and how much ammunition we can fit in our pockets. Reloading takes time when you aren't trained. Maybe tomorrow we can go over the firearms you'll be carrying and I can familiarize you with how to quickly reload clips. We'll want to prep those early, maybe tomorrow night.
A good idea, I said as impassively as I could. I knew that by tomorrow night I would be gone, but I needed to do something first, something I had been thinking about ever since the dreams I'd had in the throes of withdrawal. I needed to see my mom. I wanted to let her know that I was still alive, and I needed to know if she knew what her husband was doing to people. I just couldn't accept that she did, and even if that were true, I believed that my mom would never hand me over to the sheriff if she thought he could hurt me. She loved her kids too much. I looked over at Kimber and realized that today was the last day I was ever going to have with her. I needed to get her out of town, but not now, not yet. It was our last day together, and I didn't want to spend it arguing. There would be enough of that tomorrow. My phone chimed again, and I looked down to see another text from Jimmy.
You finally make a move, kid.
I slept very little that night, awakening well after 11 a.m., groggy and aching. Kimber didn't say a word to me as I brewed pod after pod of stale motel coffee. We spent most of the morning and early afternoon in a stretched, uncomfortable silence. I thought maybe she was nervous or scared, and today was just the silence before the storm. But as the afternoon wore on, I caught her sliding, calculated, angry glances across the room as she pretended to read book after book. And that's when I realized she knew. "What?" I said, finally ending the charade. I hadn't wanted to say it. I'd hoped to spend a few more hours with her before the end, because I knew that from this point on, Kimber's last memories of me would be betrayal and deceit. I braced myself for the coming fight.
You left the room last night. You were gone for hours.
She said. I didn't reply. There was no point in denying it.
And that package you got yesterday from Chicago. More fucking heroin?
My heart cracked at the pain in her voice. Kimber was starting to understand what I was doing to her.
Are you going to deny it?
And though her voice was angry, I heard the plea underneath. Please deny it. Please.
It was drugs, wasn't it? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you doing this, Sam? You couldn't handle it, could you? You couldn't be there for me when it mattered more than anything in the world. You're weak, Sam. You're fucking weak.
I'm sorry, I whispered.
Where did you go? Where did you go last night, huh? Did you park down the street where I couldn't see? So I couldn't stop you?
Kimber.
You're a piece of shit, and I wish it had been you instead of Kyle. It should have been you.
I had often thought the very same, but hearing it from her hurt so much worse. Me too. My quiet admission seemed to sober her up. Kimber squeezed her hands together to still the anger and fear that were spawning wild electrical currents throughout her body that manifested as violent shudders. She knew this was the end, and for the first time since we'd crossed into Missouri, both Kimber and I were well and truly alone. We didn't even have each other anymore. We didn't have anything.
Prescott won't talk to me anymore. Does that mean what I think it does?
She said, more calmly this time as she tried to compose herself. Yes.
So you're planning to leave me behind, Sam?
I took a deep breath, then answered her honestly. Yes.
Well, that is not going to happen. I need to be there when he dies. I deserve to be there.
Her voice was still dripping in acid, but she seemed to steady. I knew Kimber was right. She deserved to be there. In a better world, she would have seen him slain and watched the light leave his eyes, but I refused to risk her safety. I couldn't watch Kimber die. She had suffered so much already.
I need to be there to choke the truth about Kyle out of Jimmy Prescott.
She stood and whipped her long hair out of her face. You'll die if you go, I said quietly. We stared at each other. There was no point in challenging Kimber. She never backed down. Never. 3 a.m.
Fine. Perfect. I'm going to shower and you are going to sleep since you were gone all fucking night. Later you can shoot up the rest of your heroin so that you're useless up there. But hey, at least you'll die high.
Kimber gathered her clothes and threw a contemptuous look back at me as she stomped down the little hallway to the bathroom. I studied her, hoping to remember all the details. This was the last time I would ever see my best friend, because even if I somehow lived, Kimber would never forgive me for this. But I would slay her demons for her, just as I had slain mine in this very room days before. I prayed she would turn around just once before shutting the door. I just wanted to see her face one last time, but she never did. I had hurt her again, this time mercilessly. Everything that was left of what could have been called my soul was scorched to cinders. Thank God I didn't have much longer to live, because I'd be limping across the finish line as it was. My heart and soul burned out. I stood up and placed the Beretta onto the bedside table. I wrote Kimber a last letter, just like her mother had 10 years before. I took the car. There's a red pickup that's been parked next to us for a week. I swiped the keys. They're in the drawer. I programmed Seth's number into your phone. Call him when you hit the border, and he'll tell you where to go. He knows the plan, and he'll take care of you. I placed a note under the gun and prayed Kimber would heed it. I could taste salt and ash as I let the motel door click shut behind me, and I realized that I knew the feeling well. Regret. I walked around the building and climbed into Kimber's old Mazda, but it would have been too risky to transfer the guns from the Mazda to the red pickup, especially when the Dodge's methed-out owner could sober up at any time. I pulled out of the parking lot and merged onto the highway going west. There was just one more errand to run before I made my final trip up the mountain. My heart sank lower with every passing mile, and there were precious few between the Prince Ridge and my old house. And before I'd even decided if going home was a good idea after all, I was pulling into the driveway of my old home. The house was very different from what I remembered. My parents had built an addition onto the dining room and had widened the windows into bays on the bottom floor. Why they felt they needed extra room when their children were dead, or as good as, was beyond me. It was odd to climb the familiar patio stairs and ring the bell as if I were a stranger. The chime inside was different too, more lilting and melodic. I waited a few minutes, rocking foot to foot, wondering what I would say to the woman who had raised me when she opened the door. If she opened the door. I was beginning to doubt that anyone was home. Since I had nothing left to lose anyway, I decided to try the front door. It was locked. I knocked hard on the window next to it. "Mom?" I said through the door. "It's Sam." Nothing. Was she home? Asleep? Still locked in Whitney's room, wailing away her grief after all these years? I jumped over the patio railing and walked into the backyard. My parents had built a giant wooden deck where the back porch had been, complete with hot tub and wet bar. And they're currently living it up without us, huh? I felt ire and indignation seething just below the surface, but I held it in check, a superpower I had only just recently acquired. Walking up the deck, I tried the sliding glass door to the kitchen. It caught on something, but with a hard yank, I was able to free it and the door slid open, allowing me access to the house. There were more upgrades inside, including mahogany floors and top-of-the-line kitchen appliances. And why not? What else was it going to do with the kids' college fund? I thought bitterly. "Mom?" I called again and stepped over the threshold. As I waited for a response, my eyes began to wander around the room. Most of the walls hosted art of some kind, but now and again, I found beautifully framed photos hung reverently among them. I went room to room studying the framed pictures, all of which were hung on the most propitious part of the wall as if in worship. And of course, all of the pictures were of Whitney. He will never leave her be. Never. I wanted to hit something. As I wandered through the house, I began to realize that some of the pictures were duplicates, as if my father hadn't had enough photos of Whitney to cover the entire house. There were no photos of my parents, or me. I walked upstairs, and it was more of the same. My old room housed only a flat-screen TV and a tanning bed, while Whitney's was exactly the way she left it. I couldn't bear to go into my parents' room. Everywhere I looked, I saw Whitney. No, I will not let this happen. I collected the photos from every room, foyer, and hallway, and then dumped the pictures, including the glass and frame, into the deep marble sink in the kitchen. I then pulled a bottle of whiskey from the outside bar and poured it liberally over the sheriff's shrine. I took out a cigarette, lit it, and brought the lighter down to the alcohol-soaked pyre, where it erupted into a pyramid of hungry flame. I would burn it all. I would burn him too. While I smoked the Marlboro and waited for the smoke alarm to trigger, I heard a familiar sound from down the hallway across the room. Someone was opening the garage. I didn't know what I would say to her, but she needed to answer for all of this. I had to know what she knew about her daughter's death and her husband's crimes. I heard the door open, and then she was walking down the hallway toward the kitchen. I flicked my cigarette into the dying blaze and started toward her, but it wasn't my mother who emerged from the darkness. Emmeline? It had taken only seconds to recognize her. Emma hadn't aged very much since we were teenagers, and she looked absolutely gorgeous, but I couldn't figure out what the hell she was doing in my house. She immediately dropped the bag she was carrying in shock and slunk back against the wall.
Who are you? What are you doing in my house?
She said quickly, her eyes drawn to the fire quietly burning behind me. I was going to ask you the same thing. Why are you here?
What are you burning? What's in the sink?
What are you doing in my house, Emma? Her eyes finally slid up to my face at the familiar use of her name.
Sam?
I watched hesitant resignation dawn on her. Yeah, now answer my question. Why are you in my house? Where's my mom?
Your mom?
Yeah, she lives here, you know? Tall brunette, always trying to feed everyone, married to the sheriff. She finally seemed to regain her composure. She straightened up against the wall, but refused to move away from it.
Actually, I'm married to the sheriff. He did mention you were in town, come to think of it.
You're married to my dad?
Yes, for about 7 years now.
She crossed her arms in front of her and smirked. What had he done to her? Emma was never like this when I'd known her. She had been sweet and friendly and shy. It was the reason I had crushed on her so hard. With a sinking feeling, I remembered that my dad had known all that because we'd spoken about my feelings for Emma at length. Jimmy's words came back to me unbidden from days before. Walker has a thing about playing sick games with his kids. I turned and threw up in the sink, dousing what little fire remained in the pile of ash and twisted glass.
That's revolting. What were you burning in my sink?
Where's my mother? I asked, spitting out the last of the bile.
She died years ago, less than a year after you were run out of town.
Emma said. She was beginning to sound annoyed and bored. My mother's dead?
Yes, dead.
It was almost a relief. If my mom had been dead for so long, it meant that she hadn't been part of any of this, but the pain was lurking there too. I could only hope that her death had been natural.
I am his wife now.
Emma's shrill voice cut through the fog of grief that had surrounded me. How did she die?
I don't remember.
Emma rolled her eyes.
It was so long ago, but it's not like you were here, so what do you care?
You need to get out of here, Emma. He's dangerous.
My husband would never hurt me. I'm the mother of his child. He loves me.
You have a kid? With my dad?
Yes. She's at daycare right now, and she's his whole world. No one else compares. Not even you.
Oh, really? No one else compares? What's her name, Emma? She faltered, and the smile on her face turned snide.
I'm not telling you that.
What's her name?
What did you burn in my sink?
I burned every picture of Whitney Walker that was in this house. Emma's eyes widened and her face paled almost immediately.
You can't... You didn't.
Yeah, every picture of Whitney's gone.
He doesn't have backups of those photos. He'll come after you. He'll kill you.
Not if I kill him first. She pulled a phone out of her back pocket and began scrolling through the numbers. She laughed, but it was disingenuous. You tell the sheriff I'm coming for him. I nodded at her as she dialed. Emma put the phone to her ear. I didn't try to stop her. It was too late now anyway. My eyes flicked back to the sink. I couldn't hide this. The sheriff knew I was in town. He probably even knew what I was there for. But if Jimmy Prescott could be believed, he didn't know that I knew where to find him, and that was the only thing I had going for him. That and the prayer that the sheriff wouldn't come tearing down out of the mountains when he found out what I did. I needed him there, where it all began. Emma was moving slowly toward the back door, no doubt ready to bolt as soon as she reached it. The line suddenly connected, and Emma began speaking very quickly.
Send everyone to the house.
Before she could get another word out, Emma was suddenly on her back on the ground, her phone spinning across the floor toward my foot. Kimber had come through the sliding door so fast I didn't realize what was happening until I saw a mess of red hair on top of a screaming Emma. The line was still connected, so I smashed the phone under the heel of my boot. By the time I looked back toward Emma, Kimber already had the Beretta jammed under Emma's jaw.
Say another word, Adler, and I'll put a bullet through your skull.
Emma whimpered.
Where is Sam's mom?
My throat tightened. She's,
I wasn't talking to you! Adler.
She's dead.
How?
I don't know. It was a car accident, I think, or something with a car. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I'm a victim, like you.
Kimber let go of Emma and she scrambled back against the wall. Her disposition changed as soon as she was freed. Gone was the scared, wilting flower from moments before. Emma was once again mistress of the house. She smiled coolly.
But of course, I'm a survivor. And it's Walker now. You both are so dead when my husband finds you.
Kimber turned and cracked Emma over the head with the butt of the gun. She fell face first onto the rug she was kneeling on. We gotta go, I said, taking Kimber's arm.
Get off of me!
Kimber gave me a fiery look and then held out her hand.
Keys.
No, you need to get out of town immediately, Kimber. She pointed the Beretta at my chest.
Now.
I hesitantly handed them over to her and she whirred out the door. I followed her to the Mazda where she tore open the driver's side door and got in. The red pickup was parked haphazardly on the front yard. Grass torn up under its tires and the driver door hanging open. I walked up to the Mazda as Kimber scowled at me but didn't get in. Kimber, I'd rather be dead than take you with me up to the mine, I told her through the open window. Her hands flexed, white-knuckled on the steering wheel.
Don't make me leave you here,
she said, as the far-off sirens of police cruisers began to creep into the neighborhood. Did Kimber always get her way? Before my door was even shut, Kimber was screeching out of the driveway. She made record time back to the highway, but the sirens continued to grow louder behind us. They're chasing us, Kimber! Where the hell are you going?
You know where Borrasca is and I don't. You're not going to tell me, are you?
No.
Then there's only one place to go,
she said, and before I realized where she was going, we were already there. She pulled into the back lot of the Prince Ridge, parked, and walked straight into our hotel room, which she hadn't even bothered to lock on her way out. I ran after her, locking the door behind me. They know we're here. We have to get out now. Kimber fell into the armchair and began spinning the car keys on her finger.
I knew you would go to your mother's. Even when you're high, you're not stupid enough to make a run at Borrasca in the daylight.
I'm not high.
You hide it well. And anyway, how can I believe anything you say? You've lied to me at every turn.
I've lied? You've kept everything from me.
Only what I didn't trust you with.
And I agree that you were right. I was a liability, and I'm so sorry for that. It kills me to even think about the danger I put you in, but you need to admit the reason you're really here. Let me take care of the rest. I can do that now. I want to. I know what my life is buying.
I want to help Sam. I wanted Borrasca gone and those men dead.
I know you do, but that's not why you're here. You're here because of Kyle. I'm not saying that's wrong, Kimber, but—
I am here for Kyle, okay? I never pretended I wasn't. But I want to see Borrasca exposed, too.
The sirens were getting nearer, and we were no closer to getting out of this room.
It's clear that that's never going to happen. I thought we might be able to get the records, but I don't know how to find them. These fuckers are going to die with their good names. But at least they'll die, right?
Yes, they will die. We had finally agreed on something.
And you're not going up there alone for some suicidal showdown. Got it?
She demanded. I clenched my teeth. The time for lies was over, but I couldn't agree to this. The sirens suddenly cut off. They were here. Kimber!
Come on out, son. We know you and your girlfriend to hold up in that room.
The megaphone was coming from the other side of the building.
They think we're still in 209.
Kimber whispered as if they could hear her. It was the break we needed. Get your shit and get in the car, I said. Kimber gave me a wary look. We can argue later. Let's just get out of here, Kimber. If they catch us, no one makes a run at Borrasca. She nodded, still looking distrustful, but slung her bag over her shoulder and quietly opened the door. I prayed they had yet to surround the whole building. I grabbed my duffel bag and followed Kimber out, quietly closing the door behind me.
Come on now, Samuel. Don't make us come into this crack den after you. Come out real nice and obedient so we can bring you back to your daddy. He's been really looking forward to seeing you. Wants to spend some quality father and son time.
We threw our bags into the back seat and climbed into the car.
Where are we going?
Just away from here. We have to lose them. Knowing that they would spot the Mazda immediately, I decided our only hope was to gun it and light up the highway. The tires screeched as we shot out of the parking lot, headed straight for the freeway on-ramp. There were few places to hide, and I realized our best shot was one of the forest roads we knew so well. I risked a glance in the rearview mirror as we hit the on-ramp. The deputies had been caught off guard by our sudden appearance from the back of the building and were only just taking their cruisers out of park as we merged onto the highway. The pedal was on the floor, and it was taking all of my concentration to keep the car stable in the gently falling snow. I knew there was a strong possibility that they would catch us since their cars were a lot faster than ours. "Kimber, hand me a gun,"
No,
she said without looking away from the side mirror.
I'm a better shot than you.
She was probably right. I hadn't shot a gun since before I went to prison. The highway began to curve, and I knew this would be my only blind spot for miles. The chance to make a move they couldn't see. Instead of pulling off to the right and heading up a gently inclining forest inlet, I cut the wheel and careened over the snow-covered highway divider, across the oncoming traffic and up the steeper, more challenging access road to my left. I prayed our tire tracks wouldn't be visible to them with the moderate holiday traffic kicking up slush over them. The snow was falling softly through the trees as we climbed the mountain road, and I knew that if we were going to make it somewhere less vulnerable, we couldn't stop. The snowfall was only getting heavier. Kimber remained focused on the road behind us throughout our ascent. It was slow going at times, and we got stuck every mile or two. I wondered if Kimber could even get the car back down in the morning. There seemed to be no fear in her, no anxiety in her voice, no agitation in her movements. Kimber knew as well as I did that this was the end, and she didn't hesitate to meet it. Finally, I saw what I was looking for, a turnoff to a more level road that would move us laterally around the mountain. I took the corner and drove a mile and a half down the road before finally putting the car in park. Kimber turned around in her seat and stared out the back window. "They're not following us," I said.
How do you know?
"Because I've been followed before." Kimber turned back around in her seat and chewed on her thumbnail. "But just because we're not being followed doesn't mean we can go back. They're not going to let us off this mountain." I choked on a deep breath of thin mountain air, hoping to calm my racing heart. Kimber patted my back.
Breathe, Sam.
She leaned forward and popped her glove compartment open, then took out a large, folded paper target. "Why do you keep that in your car?" Kimber shrugged.
Practice.
She opened the door and stepped out into the snow. I followed her. "You think they're following us and you want me to shoot a gun out here?"
You said we weren't being followed. I trust you.
She gave me a small smile, as if she hadn't said anything significant. Kimber trusted me. It was a bittersweet victory that wouldn't last long.
Come on, you need to learn how to shoot. Use the Beretta since you favor it so much.
Honestly, I just thought it looked cool.
It does, and it sounds cool too. Have you ever shot a firearm before?
Once, but I didn't hit anything.
Well, that's not going to be acceptable up here. We have a lot of ammunition, but it's not going to help us if you can't hit anything.
I couldn't argue with that.
Now, the sheriff is probably going to be wearing a vest, so you can't aim for body mass. You'll need to hit him in the head. Same with Jimmy and anyone else that shoots at you.
Okay, I said, as if we weren't discussing murdering cops. Kimber walked 20 yards away and pinned the target to a tree branch.
Now, the Beretta is a semi-automatic gun, so you won't need to chamber every cartridge. Just point and shoot in succession.
Right.
You don't need to rack the slide because there's already a bullet in the firing chamber. Your left foot should be in front of your right, about shoulder length apart. Hold the gun with both hands. Good. Now line the sights and fix on the target. Squeeze the trigger when you're ready.
The shot was louder than I'd expected and echoed through the mountains for almost 3 seconds. Well, if they didn't know we were here already, they do now.
Not bad.
Kimber said as she walked up to the target.
You hit the very outside circle. Let me correct your stance a little.
We worked through the afternoon in similar form, taking a lot of time between each shot. I would fire the gun, Kimber would adjust me or give me advice, and then I would try again. With each progressive squeeze of the trigger, I got a little closer to the center of the target. She worked with me until the sun had sunk far into the horizon and the shadows were too long to decipher from each other. I was beginning to shiver in the sunless cold.
I know you're freezing, but this is the perfect amount of light to practice in. You're still leaving at 3 a.m., right?
Yes, but Kimber, I can't have you there. You know that, right?
Why do you think I'm teaching you to shoot?
You're going to let me go alone?
Do I have a choice?
No.
And I guess I have to.
It was too easy. Deceptively easy. We both knew she didn't mean it, but I didn't want to argue.
Okay, get low like I taught you and try to hit the birch tree again. I'm going to go get the SIG so I can show you how to use a rifle.
I eyed the white bark of the far-off birch through the sights. I was determined to hit the trunk this time. Even though I knew I wouldn't have the luxury of taking time to line up my shots at the mine, I needed to learn how to use them properly if I was going to have any kind of success. I inhaled slowly and brought my finger down to wrap around the trigger.
Sam, stop!
I turned around to see Kimber standing at the trunk of the tree. Her face, which had been flushed from the cold for the last hour, had gone white as the snow she was standing in. What's wrong?
It's gone.
What's gone? I asked in confusion.
All of it.
What? I walked over next to Kimber and stared into the trunk. All that remained was one bulletproof vest and a scribbled piece of yellow legal paper.
We know all you have on you is one semi-automatic handgun. We're leaving you this ballistic vest to show you that we play fair. Your daddy wants to see you. Come to us before we come to you. Coordinates below. The good guys. P.S. Your vehicle has been low-jacked courtesy of the Butler County Sheriff's Department.
They just won.
Kimber said in a defeated sort of bewilderment, and she was right. We were absolutely screwed. No, maybe we can still... Kimber slapped my face. She seemed to immediately regret it, as if she had surprised herself, but she carried on anyway.
Don't be an idiot, Sam.
Kimber jerked the 9mm out of my hand and ejected the clip. It was empty. You don't have anything on you? Nothing? I asked in cold fear. I could work with very little, but I couldn't work with nothing at all.
Nothing.
Said Kimber as she racked the slide.
Except this.
A bullet sprung out of the chamber and fell into the thin layer of snow below where it sank. I fell to my knees to retrieve it. One bullet? One bullet? We would have probably failed with 1,000 bullets, but with only one, I might as well just put it in my head. When could they have done this? I was beginning to panic.
I don't know. After we did our inventory. Days ago.
Shit, but how did they know what we were carrying on us?
They've probably been watching us. Or Jimmy told them.
I shook my head wildly, or unwilling to comprehend our current situation. I couldn't get control of my fear. We needed to sit. We needed to think. Get in the car, I said finally. We need to get in the car. We shut the doors and I turned on the engine, blasting the hot air into the cabin. We ran it for 20 minutes, but nothing seemed to dissipate the cold.
Maybe we should just leave.
Kimber's voice wobbled when she finally spoke. Her shock was melting into hopelessness.
Come back in another 10 years.
I didn't want to tell her that we couldn't leave. They were tracking the car. They knew exactly where we were. They always had. All roads down the mountain were already blocked. All roads now led to Borrasca. I pulled off my jacket and shoved it behind my lower back, which was beginning to throb in pain. Kimber was in and out of sleep, and I occasionally turned off the car to conserve gas, making sure to cover her with all the clothes I could find in our duffel bag. It was midnight. The woods were quiet, and there was no moonlight to reveal what surrounded the car. We were enveloped by empty, black, ice-cold air. I was cold and tired and in pain. I needed to wait until a few hours before dawn to start my trek to the mine, and the walk to Borrasca would be around 2.5 hours from where we were. I had to make sure I left Kimber enough gas to get down the mountain and out of town, because as soon as the sheriff was dead, or I was, they would be looking for her. I watched her sleep and wondered at the madness of the world. We should have all lived normal lives, graduated together, went to college, been roommates, backpacked across Europe, but none of that could ever happen now. And what cruel irony it was that Kimber was more of a sister to me than she had ever been to Kyle. I rubbed my eyes and debated braving the cold outside for a cigarette. I had 14 left, and I planned to smoke them all before I reached the mine.
I didn't mean what I said.
I jumped a little, and Kimber laughed softly. I didn't know you were awake.
Who can sleep?
Good point. Kimber sat up and pushed the 20 pounds of clothes off her. I noted the time and started the car.
I didn't mean it. What I said about wishing it had been you instead of Kyle.
Don't worry about it, I said, shifting uncomfortably in my seat. I wish the same thing.
No, Sam.
Kimber grabbed me by the sides of my head and pulled me to her where she rested her forehead against mine.
There is no one I would rather have by my side tomorrow. And I know you don't want me there, but I will be. To the very end.
With Kimber holding me the way she was, there was no way for me to hide my wet eyes. I pulled my head back and wiped my face with a ratty flannel sleeve. Emotions were so much more overwhelming when you felt all of them. Without responding to her, I opened the door and stepped out into the piercing mountain air. I closed the door, leaned against it, and dug into my pocket with a shaking hand. I'd left my parka in the car in my haste to get out of it, but I wasn't going back now. My new mantra echoed through my mind again. 1 bullet. I heard the passenger door open and turned in time to catch the parka Kimber had thrown at me.
You idiot.
Get back in the car, it's freezing,
You think?
she said sarcastically. I took a long drag off my cigarette and felt the nicotine begin to work its magic. I needed to stay calm. 1 bullet, Kimber. I pulled my parka around my shoulders.
And a bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's more bullet resistant, depending on what you get shot with. Nothing is really bulletproof, am I right?
I gave her an icy glare. Well, I didn't know that, but thanks,
Sorry.
she said with chattering teeth. It's fine, it doesn't matter. They'll probably just shoot me in the head anyway.
Are you almost done? Because it's fucking freezing out here. Don't you want to get some sleep?
I'll sleep plenty soon enough, I thought morbidly. Not really. I flicked the cigarette away and followed its amber glow to where it settled in the fresh, still falling snow. We climbed back into the car and I checked the time. 4 more minutes and I would have to shut off the engine again.
I know you think I should stay, so tell me, what would I do after you leave?
Kimber asked as she laid both her hands over the air vents. Wait until you hear gunfire. As soon as you do, get the hell off this mountain. If you haven't heard anything by 6 a.m., leave anyway. Ditch the car about 3 miles down and walk out. Don't follow the roads, just keep going downhill. Call Seth as soon as you get signal.
Interesting. And how will I know what happened to you?
I'll contact you, or I won't. We both knew it would likely be the latter. The chance that I could get a shot off, especially one that my father was expecting, were less than 1%. But I knew they wouldn't let us off the mountain until one of us was dead. I just hoped it would be the sheriff. I checked the time and turned off the car.
How far is Borrasca from here?
A couple of hours.
Ah.
Kimber buried herself under half the errant clothing and threw the other half over me.
You know I could just follow you, right?
I know. I could already see my breath, and the car hadn't been off for 10 seconds.
And unless you tell me an acceptable plan, unless I truly believe you can live through this without me, I'm going to follow you.
You can't, Kimber. I need to stop being selfish and sacrifice something for once in my life. And you've lost too much already.
But I need to do this, Sam.
I won't watch you die. I won't let that happen.
Don't you think you're being selfish right freaking now? My death isn't yours to decide. I've gotten us this far and I've been preparing for this for so long. You can't go without me.
Let me do this for you, Kimber. My monsters are dead. I killed them. I'm clean. I can do this. I'll find out the truth about Kyle and where he is, and then I'll call you. I know Borrasca has signal because Emma called the sheriff there.
Maybe he'll go easy on you. Maybe his guard will be down since you're his son. You're the only son he has, and all.
I didn't correct her. I doubt it. We did burn all his daughter's photos and pistol whip his wife.
Worth it. But what do you mean about Whitney's photos?
Trust me, you're better off not knowing.
1 gun, 1 bullet, 1 vest. We need a motherfucker of a plan.
Yeah, we do.
And I need to be part of it.
No, Kimber, I'm not backing down from this.
Neither am I.
Look, if I can come up with something that gives me a reasonable chance of not dying, will you agree to assist from afar?
I'm listening, but you should expect me to argue.
Trust me, I do. And argue is what we did. Deep into the crisp morning hours, before I was ready, the clock showed 3 a.m. I turned off the car and threw everything I could spare for the walk to Borrasca over Kimber's sleeping form. The cold would wake her soon enough. I equipped myself with everything I needed, closed the door gently behind me, and started off alone towards Borrasca. There's a lot to think about when you're walking towards your end. But instead of an existential crisis I expected, my mind wandered in and out of the past. I reveled in memories I'd been unable to conjure for a decade, of my family as we were and my childhood friends. It was not something I wanted to forget again. Finding the mine wasn't hard. I simply followed the road we had turned onto the day before. I had to go off trail a few times, but I knew the map well. Recalling details came so easily to me now. Still, as much as I hated to admit it, I didn't want to die sober, and I wondered how much it would hurt. If he shot me in the head, not a lot, I thought. At least that was something to hope for. I was wearing 6 layers of clothing, but frozen to the core by the time the sun turned the sky a murky gray. The cigarettes were gone, and I had been jonesing for another for the past hour and a half. I needed more time, but I knew I was almost there. I left the trail I'd been on to make one more shortcut along the river, and within 20 minutes, I could see the edge of the mining camp. The sheriff must have been tracking me because he was already standing in the large clearing facing my direction, surrounded by 9 of his men and a smirking Jimmy Prescott. Jimmy was standing a few feet behind my father, smoking a cigarette and watching me as I approached. He winked. Before I knew they were behind me, 2 deputies still in uniform grabbed my arms, pinned them to my sides, and dragged me the last few yards into the camp. They dumped me at the sheriff's feet and looked down at me in disgust. 13 men and 1 bullet. I couldn't believe it all came down to the lies and whims of Jimmy Prescott. I stood up, noting all the guns suddenly drawn on me in response, and looked at the sheriff eye to eye. I was sickened to realize that we were almost identical in every way. His hair was the same dark brown color as mine, untouched by age. The skin on his face boasted only a few light creases, and my terrible lifestyle and withered features somehow matched his older age. I wondered how Kimber had stomached my face every year without turning away in disgust. "Hello, Graham," I said and spat into the wind between us. "You're a goddamn disgrace."
"Shut the fuck up,"
the sheriff said.
"Greg, teach my son some respect."
I didn't bother to defend myself and wouldn't have time anyway. Greg knocked me back into the snow before I could even blink. His fist split my cheek open under my left eye, and I didn't rush to get up from the cold, numbing snow that was now pressed against my face. It was in that moment that I felt Borrasca all around me again. It was as deafening as the last time. I could sense it in the air, the fear, the suffering, and the pain, and could almost hear them whispering through the walls like they had 10 years before. "Help me, please. Help me or kill me, but don't leave me here." The building to the sheriff's back was most surely the dorm. It was larger than the other one, but radiated the same aura of agony and death.
"Now listen the hell up, Samuel. This little charade of yours ends today. It appears you actually believe a woman and a drug addict could single-handedly dismantle a business this size, so you must be fucking stupid. And that makes me feel sorry for you. So why don't you just hand over the gun and go back to the ghetto you crawled out of?"
I pushed myself to my knees. "No."
"No? Are you dog shit insane, son? You broke into my house, destroyed pictures of my daughter. You beat my wife. You're lucky you're still alive. I've killed children for less."
And looking at him, I didn't doubt it. "You need to die."
"Well, then by all means, take your shot."
The sheriff swept out his arms mockingly.
"We know you only have a round or 2 left, 'cause yesterday we heard you 15 shots into the fucking trees."
His deputies laughed, but the sheriff remained sober.
"Just remember, boy, your aim better be true, 'cause when you come at the king, you better not miss."
I fell onto my arms as my lungs erupted in a sudden coughing fit. Even if I could escape after the sheriff was dead, my lungs wouldn't hold up. I was screwed. I knew it. The sheriff knew it, and his men knew it. And while the sheriff's gun hadn't left his holster, all but Jimmy Prescott had weapons trained on my chest and head. If I even reached into my jacket, I'd be shot.
Or you could use the sense you were born with and go home. Hell, I'll even have Dreddy drop off more heroin before you get there. You've run me up quite a tab with that boy over the years.
My dad is my supplier. How stupid was I? I couldn't even remember the last time I'd paid for my drugs. He'd been keeping me harmless and docile for years, and I'd let him do it. Who the hell was this person that I had once loved most in my life? No, I have questions you have to answer, I told him through the burning in my throat.
No, that's where you're wrong, Sammy. I don't have to do anything. Ever.
Why did you hurt Whitney? The sheriff yanked his gun out of his holster and then crossed his arms in front of him, pointing it at the ground.
The one thing I did to Whitney was avenge her death.
No, you raped her. The sheriff stepped forward and cracked me across the face so hard with his pistol that I felt bones snap in my cheek. I fell back into the snow, and before my vision had even cleared, he snapped one of my ribs with the toe of his boot. I lay curled on my side for a few seconds while the pain radiated from my chest to my spine and scattered to every nerve in my body. I really wished I'd had some H. If I were high enough, death would feel like a glorious footnote. When the pain was verging on manageable, I rolled over and got up on my hands and knees, spitting blood into the snow. I raised my head to look up at my father. He was still standing above me, fist clenching the butt of his gun, and a red rage spread across his face. Bit of a sore spot?
Don't you ever say anything so filthy about your sister ever again, or I will shove my gun up under that ballistic vest and shoot you in the fucking gut.
I needed him angry, but not angry enough to kill me. Not yet. What happened to my mother? I grimaced, speaking hurt. The sheriff stepped back and smiled, his composure regained.
What a woman she was. But I'm afraid she died in a freak accident some years ago.
I don't believe you, I said and sat back on my knees, struggling to breathe. Slow breaths, get the air in, don't pass out.
I don't give a shit if you believe me. This conversation's getting boring. This isn't a goddamn Q&A. You had your chance to leave, and instead, you decided to say disgusting things about your sister.
Was I wrong?
You were talking about things you know nothing about. I loved Whitney.
You're a monster.
Is that any way to talk to your father? You know, I think Greg needs to teach you some more fucking respect.
I know what you did to Kimber.
Oh yeah? Would you rather it have been someone she didn't know? Someone that disgusted her, like that geriatric prick Clary or Prescott over here?
He jabbed a thumb back at Jimmy. I would rather it have been no one. Bloody spit flying across the space between us and landing on his jacket. He backhanded me, but this time I didn't fall.
You watch your tone with me, boy. It's bad enough that my men are here to see what a pathetic joke my own son has become. It's fucking embarrassing.
Then send them inside. Let's just talk, me and you.
You think I'm scared of you, Sammy? I don't even think you have 2 bullets. I think you've got 1. And I think you want to use it on me. Well, go ahead, son. Pull the gun on me so I can kill you nice and legal.
Not until I know why you did this. You were my dad. I loved you.
You don't look like any son of mine.
But more importantly, you were a cop. You were supposed to protect people.
No, Sammy, I'm a businessman. Always have been, even back then. Why do you think we came to Truskin in the first place?
I remembered. I hadn't understood it at that young age, but I knew now what the whispers had meant. Because of those girls and the things they said you did.
Exactly. I was making money. They were getting laid.
They were 14.
14 is older than you think, Sam. It's not like I touched them.
So this is what you wanted all along?
If that's what it takes. I'm only here for the power and the women. I'm an alpha, Sam. That's why I can't figure out what the hell happened to you. You got the blood of kings running through your veins, and you fill them with tar. That shit is for the women, but I have to send it out to your handler every month. My only son is a white trash drug addict. How do you think that makes me feel? This should be your birthright, and you're too weak to take it.
Give me more credit than that. I'm stronger than you think.
Strong enough to take a bullet to the head and live through it.
Are you? The sheriff's expression darkened.
Sam, hey, you.
Hey, boss. Look what I caught lurking around.
15 men. 2 men I hadn't seen previously came around the side of the dorm, pushing a woman in front of them. Kimber. I breathed. But the sheriff knew who she was.
I'm sorry, Sam. They...
Well, I've heard you turned into a looker, but I'm yet to confirm it for myself. Hello again, sweetheart.
The sheriff walked over to Kimber and ran his fingers along the side of her face. She recoiled at his touch. "Don't you touch her!" I yelled and scrambled to my feet. Greg shoved the barrel of his gun into the back of my head.
Sit down.
Watch your temper, Sammy. You banging this wild filly? Less, my boy. At least I know you didn't turn a homo in prison.
Blood was rushing in my ears, and the rage in me was deafening.
Sam, stop! Just stop or he'll kill you!
The sheriff looked back to nod at Greg, who cracked stars into the back of my head with his fist.
Manners, Sam. That's not how you talk in front of a lady. I've heard enough goddamn disrespect from you. This is your last warning.
The sheriff turned to Kimber and yanked her hair towards him so that their faces were almost touching. She writhed against the man behind her, holding her arms.
Soon, princess. We'll catch up soon.
The sheriff let go of Kimber's hair and walked back to stand in front of me.
Where were we?
Let Kimber go. Let her go and I'll do anything you want.
Oh, really? Anything?
Yes, just let her go.
Would you leave her and never come back?
Yes.
Would you stay and help me run my business?
Yes.
Would you go inside right now and fuck one of our girls?
Yes. Please don't call that bluff.
No, Sam!
Richards, would you shut her the fuck up?
The sheriff asked. I heard a sickening thud, but couldn't see through the blood running into my eyes from the split on my forehead.
Now then, how about Phoebe Tranger? If I recall, she was a raging cunt to you in high school. Why don't you go in there and take some vengeance for yourself? I'm sure she'd love it.
She's really not my type.
Oh, I guess Kimber DeStero is more your type, isn't she?
No, somebody else, anybody else.
What a pussy.
Jimmy Prescott laughed.
Look, this family reunion has been real sweet and all, but we've got investors coming into town today and a lot of shit to do before they get here. Plus, it's early as balls and I need more coffee. Can we just kill this little prick and get on with our day?
The sheriff shot Jimmy an annoyed look.
Do I look like I need to be fucking entertained right now? Did I tell my monkey to dance? No, I didn't. So shut the fuck up, monkey.
Jimmy shrugged and took a sip of coffee.
Actually, Jimmy, on second thought, take the girl inside and find her a new home. Make her useful.
No, you can't take her in there. Please, I'll do anything, Dad. Please, just don't make her go in there. The sheriff turned around to give me a disgusted look and shook his head in disappointment. Then, without even turning to look at her, the sheriff shot Kimber in the chest where she stood, and she fell over into the snow without making a sound.
Oh, quit your yelling. I tried to warn you, Sammy.
The sheriff said through echoes of the shot still resonating through the camp.
Jesus Christ, son. Enough theatrics. I didn't even act like this when your mother died.
You murdered her!
I've killed a lot of people. Although I must say, I do regret that I'm not gonna get a turn with her again. Usually I don't like redheads, but there was something about her. Like father, like son, I guess.
I told her not to come. I told her not to come. I mumbled, barely coherent. Shut up, shut the fuck up! I screamed at him. Greg took a step toward me, but my father stopped him with a hand.
Let him throw his tantrum. He did the same thing when I took away his toys as a kid. This ain't no different.
Richard stepped over Kimber's lifeless body and exchanged a few quiet words with the sheriff. I couldn't hear them over the dry heaving of my stomach, which didn't stop until my abdomen muscles ached from the force of them.
Richard's just had an interesting idea. You're in for a real treat, Sam. Get him up.
The sheriff said to the men behind me. They hauled me to my feet and shoved me in the direction of my father. I stumbled, but didn't fall.
We don't use it too much anymore on account of the noise, but how about we throw your girlfriend's body into the shiny gentleman and scatter her bone fragments all over the mountain? That way she can be here at the mine for all eternity. I bet she'd like that.
I was shaking so violently I could barely wipe the blood out of my eyes. No, I said and fell back down on my knees in the snow.
No. Are you sure?
He asked. I could hear the smile in his voice. No, please. My voice broke over my words. The sheriff's smile fell into a look of distaste.
Don't beg. It makes you look weak. Get off your knees.
Please don't touch her.
You know what your problem is, Sam? You're not man enough to take what you want. You're not strong enough to say, forget what's polite. Forget the consequences. Forget the law.
You're a cop.
See, now there's a bit of spirit. Sometimes in life you just have to claim what should be yours. That's what society's built on. Now our operation may not be within the laws of the land, but we sure as hell work within the government.
But Whitney, look what it did to her, this place.
I ain't gonna warn you again, boy. Keep my daughter's name out of your mouth.
Which daughter?
What can I say? Whitney is a beautiful name.
It's sick. You're sick. You need help.
I have help. Look around you, Sammy.
He gestured to the 14 men standing in a half circle around me.
I am a sultan. These are my governors, and that is my harem. I'm starting to think you're not gonna come around, Sam.
I spat at him. I will never be a part of this. I will never stop trying to kill you.
Well, I'm real sorry to hear that. That's a pity. Looks like we're gonna have to break you in like a horse. I kinda wish I'd left the Estero girl alive now. You say another word like that to me, and I'm gonna execute you right here on your fucking knees.
The sheriff's men seemed to lean in, smelling blood in the water. I knew this was it. If you had wanted me dead, you would have already shot me.
Are you sure about that?
The sheriff asked and leveled his gun at my forehead.
Why don't you pull the gun on me and find out?
Oh, I'm sure about that. You need me. Through the sea of your bullshit, I see the truth. It's a pride thing. You want your son taking over your business. You want another Walker in charge. The sheriff's mouth spread into a wide smile, but he didn't lower his gun.
I can make another son.
You could, but you want me. You want to break me. You want to mold me into you, because that way you win.
Oh, I've already won, Sam.
No, I have. You're a slave to your own goddamn hubris. I can say and do whatever I want, and your pride won't allow you to kill me.
Maybe not.
The sheriff shrugged and dropped the barrel of his gun to my chest.
But I can break your ribs with a bullet.
I heard the shot, but I didn't feel it enter my body. I instinctively put my hands over the entry wound on my chest. I didn't have to feel it to know it was there. Sound was pulsating in and out of my ears in time to my deceptively calm heartbeat. But through the waves of sound and silence, I could hear them all laughing.
Hurts like a bitch, doesn't it? A shot to a ballistics vest hurts a hell of a lot more than a kick with a steel-toed boot. But of course, your ribs were already broken, so that must really sting.
I knew I was going into shock. I pulled my hands away from my jacket and saw that they were covered in thick, warm blood. The laughing died immediately, and the sheriff took a step in my direction.
What in the hell?
By the time he put it all together and looked over at her, Kimber was already standing where they'd left her discarded in the snow. She was staring at the sheriff down the sights of the Beretta, and before anyone could react, Kimber squeezed the trigger and killed her monster. The bullet went through the sheriff's eye and out the back of his head, where it buried itself in the wood of the building behind him. Before his body even hit the ground, guns were pulled from every side, and the men loyal to money had taken control of the men loyal to fear. Jimmy Prescott had somehow come through.
Holy shit, kid! You did it!
Prescott said, taking a sip of coffee and stepping over my father's body.
I mean, I think that wound is probably fatal, but, don't let that take away from your accomplishment. Hell, I'll even name a wing after you.
He gestured to the dorm behind him. Take the gun off Kimber, I demanded. I knew I didn't have much time to play my trump card.
Ortiz, what the fuck? Quit pointing that shit at the hero of the day.
The man closest to Kimber lowered his gun. She doubled over then, clearly in enough pain of her own.
Broken bones.
Jimmy nodded, reading the thoughts on my face.
Your daddy shot her with a .357, which, well, he shot you too. It's a pretty big bullet. She might actually be bleeding, but she'll be fine. You, on the other hand...
I straightened against the darkness. I needed to tell Jimmy something. What was it? Oh, yes, my insurance policy to make sure Kimber left this place alive.
So you talked all that shit and you weren't even armed? You had nothing on you? You sure you don't want to come work for me?
I did have something on me.
Oh yeah? What's that?
This. I pulled out the small remote control and dropped it into the snow in front of me. Jimmy laughed.
What the hell is that?
It's a remote for the video cameras.
What the hell are you talking about, kid? What video cameras?
For the first time since I'd met him, Jimmy looked rattled. Those video cameras. I pointed up in the trees, where a dozen small cameras blended into the dark branches, their blinking red lights all but invisible. I need to stop the bleeding.
Are you joking? You better be joking, because I will put the bullet in your head that your daddy couldn't.
He raised a gun to my face, but seemed conflicted. If he believed me about the cameras, I knew he couldn't shoot me. It all came down to my ability to bullshit.
I'll just take those cameras down. Break them like they were never there.
He said and cocked the gun he was holding in my face. They're on a live feed, asshole. I said. Jimmy's face twitched a few times before he lost it and hurled his coffee cup at the building behind him. The video is streaming back to a laptop in Chicago. It's over. Jimmy's men looked uneasily at one another. They scattered like roaches to all sides of the camp, starting their trucks and speeding down off the mountain. Jimmy was already on the phone with someone as he dug into his pocket for his keys. Jimmy threw his phone on the ground and shot it 4 times with his gun. He ran to a nearby truck and ripped the door open. "Prescott!" I shouted hoarsely. Jimmy paused before he slammed the door and glared at me. Kyle Landry. Was all that bullshit?" Jimmy's glare contorted into a bitter smile. "Where is he? Where's Kyle?"
You'll believe anything.
He sneered before he slammed his car door and sped off down the mountain. The last of my energy expended, I fell forward into the snow with my back to the sheriff's body. I could see a mess of Kimber's red curls over the top of my arm, but she was so far away. "Kimber!" I gasped through the blood in my mouth, but she didn't stir. With my strength running out like sand in an hourglass, I pulled my phone from my jacket and dialed Seth's number. He answered on the first ring.
Tell me.
"It worked. She's alive. I'm alive. The high school. Those sick bastards host all the records on the school server. Drisking High."
Drisking High. Got it.
"Can you get in?"
I'm working on it. That database is going to be locked down secure as hell, but like I said the other day, I'm pretty good at what I do.
"I don't know what the file will be called," I muttered and dropped the phone down next to me where it sunk into the snow. I faded in and out for a few minutes, trying to hold on.
I got it.
Seth said finally.
I just looked for the most buried shit on the server. They're scrubbing it fast, man, but I got it. They definitely know I'm here, though.
I felt myself pulling away from my body.
Fuck me. There's some serious heavy hitters in here. I can't believe they kept it on a school server.
I could barely hear Seth anymore.
Hey, you okay, bro?
And then I was alone. The clock read 1:32 a.m. I turned the car on again. Kimber muttered her approval and laid her face next to the heater. She gently banged her forehead against the dashboard.
We're getting nowhere.
And she was right. We had been arguing for hours and still agreed on nothing. The mission was suicide, no matter how we went about it, so we were really just arguing how many of us should die and in what order. They're going to kill you if they see you, period. Those guys have no reason to let you live.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. But how are you going to shoot anybody when you have one bullet and they know you're coming anyway?
They know about the bulletproof vest.
And they know about the bulletproof vest, making it absolutely worthless.
Yep. I leaned my head back against the headrest and closed my eyes. I just wanted to sleep.
We need more time. At least another day.
If we don't come to them in the morning, they'll come to us.
And kill us either way.
Right. We're dead in every scenario. Kimber suddenly sat up.
Unless.
I turned my head to look at her through one eye. Unless what?
Unless we do something stupid.
Kimber, that ship has sailed.
No, listen, I'm serious. You wear the vest, and you give me the gun.
Split up the vest and the gun.
Yeah, they won't expect that.
Yeah, because it's really stupid. As soon as one of us pulls out a gun, they're going to get shot. So if that's the plan, I'd rather you wear the vest.
But I need the gun.
Then wear both.
No, that's...
She was silent for a moment.
Well, actually, that's pretty brilliant.
I gave her a dubious look. What are you thinking?
Hear me out. I'm going to get shot either way, and that actually puts us at an advantage. Let him shoot me. And then once they've forgotten about me and they're not paying attention to me anymore, I'll shoot him.
Well, you're banking on the fact that they don't search us when we get to Borrasca.
Yeah.
And that they won't just shoot you in the head.
Granted.
And also that they'll shoot you at all. I mean, they could just, keep you there.
Okay.
And finally, that Jimmy will, or even can, take control of the situation like he promised. Kimber nodded.
Okay. All acceptable risks.
You're high, Kimber.
I'm definitely not. But are you? Because for this to work, I'm going to need you to streep the shit out of this.
I wish. Kimber raised an eyebrow. That package didn't have drugs in it, I said.
What?
Sorry, but I couldn't tell you at the time. You would have realized that I was going without you.
You're a dick, Sam Walker.
I shrugged.
So what did it have in it?
It was a care package from Seth. He sent me video cameras.
Why? For what?
Remember that night I disappeared with the car for several hours? Kimber's eyes narrowed.
Yes.
I used the directions Jimmy Prescott gave me to find Borrasca II.
Please don't call it that. Also, please tell me you're joking.
Sorry, and no, I'm not. I couldn't see much or hear anything, but I was there. I know the way. It's the reason we're parked on this road right now.
I can't believe you went to Borrasca. I can't believe you, Sam. That's madness.
Yeah, I realized that too late, and the whole thing took me longer than it should have because I had to be stealthy. Which, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not a graceful person, and I had to climb trees to Velcro that stuff down. Oh, and I had to find the place.
So, holy shit. We're going to have actual footage from the mine. It's brilliant.
Not exactly. They're dummy cameras.
What does that mean? They're not real?
Yeah, they're sold as like deterrents.
But then, why would you risk that? Why even bother putting up deterrents?
To, deter anyone from murdering me?
Oh, god damn it. I really wish they were real.
Yeah, me too, but there's no way I could have installed something like that.
If we had film, we wouldn't even need the Borrasca records.
Seth thinks if we figure out where the files are, he might be able to get in and download them.
So many ifs.
So you really want to get shot, huh?
I think it's the best plan we've got. Maybe I'll just stumble into camp later than you. Get caught. That way they'll assume you have the gun and I was just being careless. Sam.
She was shaking me. I had drifted off.
Sam, wake up. Wake up.
Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. I'm sorry to wake you, but the detectives have been asking to interview you since yesterday. I'm afraid they're very insistent.
I tried to focus on the person standing next to me. Everything was very, very white. Where am I?
Drisking Regional. I'm Dr. Clava. And since you're going to be speaking to two of the rudest men I've ever met, I'm going to up your morphine a smidge.
I blinked a few times against the bright lights that stung my eyes. No morphine, please. Take me off it.
Are you sure? You'll be in a bit of pain if I do that.
Yeah, turn it off. Where's Kimber? How's she doing? Also, how am I not dead?
I'm not Kimber's doctor, so I'm not sure who you're talking about. As for your survival, you owe that to a rather skilled surgeon on staff here.
I could already feel the pain radiating from my chest below my heart. Is there any way you can make it any darker in here?
Absolutely,
they said as they walked to the door and turned down the lights.
Good luck. A nurse will be by later to check on you.
I didn't recognize the two men who pushed past Dr. Clava in the doorway. They were serious-looking men with the dry air of immediacy about them.
Sam Walker? My name is Agent Grant. This is Special Agent Tripping. We're with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. My voice sounded strained as I tried to sit up. When it was clear I wasn't going to make it, Agent Grant grabbed me by the arm to steady me and pointed to a remote control at the edge of the bed. I held the raise button until the bed sat me up level with the two men.
We're here because you were found unconscious and near death at a crime scene, along with a 27-year-old woman and the corpse of the county sheriff.
Sounds about right, I said and rubbed my face. I winced as I brushed my nose. They had set the bones, but it was still very tender. I didn't even want to see my chest.
Can you comment on the events that led you to that location?
Agent Grant asked. Tripping remained silent. Sure, I'd love to, but first I really need to know where Kimber is.
She is in federal custody, giving her own statement.
And what happened to all the women at the mine? The people who were imprisoned there?
The victims have all been removed from the scene.
And why are you only talking to me now? I tried to contact the feds for years about Borrasca.
Is that the local name of this trafficking group?
Sort of. I winced as a stab of pain ricocheted from my spine to my ribs.
We don't have any record of you contacting the FBI at any time.
Yeah, well, I did.
And that will be addressed. An internal investigation has been opened due to the, shall we say, sensitive information leaked by the press on Wednesday evening.
Oh yeah? Did they receive some sort of press packet?
Do you know something about that?
Trippine finally spoke. I know nothing about that, but I do know a lot about everything else. I wanted to laugh. This was ludicrous. I was alive. The sheriff was dead, Borrasca was gone, and everybody associated with it was going down. It was almost everything Kimber had wished for. It couldn't really be happening. The detective pulled 2 chairs that were set back along the wall up to the bed.
Do you mind if we record you?
Hell no, I want all this on record.
All right.
Grant started, setting a recorder onto the bed next to my leg.
Tell us about your father.
I stood outside one of the massive tents the feds had erected on the tarmac of Drisking's small airport. It was old, crumbling, and abandoned, but they were sure as hell landing stuff here now. Grant had promised Kimber to me within the hour, and I nervously smoked a cigarette in the cold while waiting outside the giant tent. They told me they needed to hold her longer than me because Kimber had admitted to killing a law enforcement officer. Grant said the prosecutor would almost certainly decline to press charges due to the circumstances rapidly coming to light. But still, it was early days and the waters were murky. We'd no longer be in custody, but we weren't allowed to leave town either. I pulled my jacket tighter as the wind cut down the thoroughfares and the alleyways of the sprawling tent city, or as Grant referred to it, Central Ops. Special Agent Trippine had given me the thick brown duster I was currently wearing since my own jacket had been taken in as evidence, which didn't bother me because the coat was warmer anyway.
Sam!
I turned around just as Kimber jumped on me, wrapping her arms around my back and squeezing tightly. I buckled, grunting in pain and trying not to drop her. Kimber released me immediately.
I'm sorry, I forgot you got shot.
Well, you sure as hell reminded me. I winced. Trippine walked up from behind Kimber and nodded at me.
You can go. There's a Ford Explorer you can use parked off a Draper across from the mobile command unit. Here are the keys. Don't leave town and don't talk to the media. Or the locals. In fact, don't talk to anybody.
We found the car right where he said and climbed in, slamming the doors on the biting wind. You're gonna have to drive. I don't think I can make it.
Don't they have you on any painkillers?
Prescription Tylenol.
Oh my god, I want to cry for you. But still, good for you, Sam.
She smiled at me and pulled out onto the road.
Honestly, I can't believe they discharged you from the hospital after only a few days. You got shot in the chest.
I'm well aware. But they had to. The hospitals are full, and a mobile one for the least severe cases is what I'm told.
How many women were there at Borrasca?
You don't know?
No, they wouldn't tell me anything. They even took the TV out of the hotel room they held me in.
132.
But there were never that many when I was there. Maybe 60 at most.
I guess he wasn't lying. The sheriff really was a businessman, I said sarcastically. Turn here.
Emphasis on the was.
Kimber smiled. I couldn't fault her for being happy he was dead, and even though he was my father, I was too. So they didn't tell you anything, huh?
The only thing they would tell me is that you were alive, and that's only because I started throwing cutlery at them.
I laughed. Well, I guess I'll give you the news then. Every major news outlet got a copy of the Borrasca records on Friday, and the files were apparently very detailed. Open investigations were triggered across the map, and they caught everybody that was on the payroll, including Prescott.
What? They caught him already?
She said excitedly. Grant said he didn't even last a day. And I've really been wanting to tell you. That was a beautiful shot you made.
Oh, I've made the shot 1,000 times. This was the first time that my target was actually in the flesh, though. And hey, congrats on taking a bullet and living through it like a fucking champ.
Turn right. Yeah, who knew I would excel at getting shot? I wonder what sort of career I can make out of that. Kimber shrugged.
Bullet tester?
She was different now. Gone was the anxious, despondent version of her that I'd come to know in the past weeks. This was Kimber as I remembered her before her mother died. Happy, unburdened, hopeful. I couldn't believe that I was about to strip it all away from her. But she deserved to know. Take another right up here.
Where are we going?
You'll see. Kimber's smile wavered.
I'm not sure if I like that at all.
At the end of this street, we're looking for house number 445.
There.
She said, and pulled into the spot at the front of the large, Gothic-style house.
This place is off-putting. What is it?
It's a group home.
A group home? What for?
I didn't say anything, but watched her carefully. Kimber sobered.
You mean...
Her hands, which were tucked back into her sleeves, suddenly covered her mouth as she realized why we were here. Kimber began to shake her head.
But Jimmy said... I heard him say...
Well, contrary to Jimmy Prescott's last words to me, I don't believe everything he says. I took a deep breath. The Landys left town with just about everything else 2 days ago. According to Grant, they didn't take their oldest son with them, just Parker. Kimber continued to stare at the house with her hands over her mouth. She looked like she was about to cry. And Grant ordered Kyle's caretaker to stop giving him his daily meds until they could get a hold of his doctor, who skipped town with the rest of Drisking.
So, Kyle is inside? And he's been off his medication for
days. Which means if he had been sedated for all this time, like Jimmy said, he might not be anymore. Kimber coughed into her hands, but it sounded like a suppressed sob. I put my arm around her. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm ready.
Good. Let's go get our boy. We rang the bell. Hi, we're here to see Kyle Landy.
Landy? Are you family?
Yes. We're family.
Kyle's family hasn't visited once in all the years he's been here. Are you on his authorized visitation list?
I doubt it.
But we're coming in anyway.
Kimber added.
Fine. I don't care. I'm the only one here. Everybody else has left town because of the scandal. He's in his room. Second door on the left.
We turned to go.
Oh, and please remember that he's nonverbal, so don't expect him to talk to you or move or anything. If you want to bring him downstairs, let me know and I'll get the key to the elevator.
Fine. Thanks.
Kimber said to the air behind her as she climbed the stairs. I followed behind more slowly, taking deep, measured breaths. Please, Kyle. Please be real. By the time I got to the top of the stairs, Kimber was standing in the open doorway of Kyle's room, as if she couldn't bear to go any further. She was crying softly into her hands, and when she turned and saw me, she began shaking her head.
I can't. I just can't, Sam.
I walked over and gave Kimber a hug. It's okay. It's gonna be fine, I said into her hair. I took a few moments to mentally prepare before I finally turned around and glanced into the room. Kyle was in his wheelchair, which was facing the bed, and he was staring straight ahead at the swirling oak of the wall in front of him. He didn't react to our voices or move in the slightest. I couldn't be sure he was even blinking. I released Kimber and walked slowly into the room. I sat down on the edge of the bed in front of Kyle to study him. His injuries had healed, other than his nose, which remained out of place and broken. He was still wearing flannel pants and a nondescript white t-shirt and socks. His hair was long, and a red beard covered the bottom half of his face. His eyes were fixed over my shoulder, lazily settled on the wall behind me. Kyle? I said as I moved into his line of vision. It's Sam. He blinked. Kyle's eyes seemed to try to focus on me, but when I moved, they didn't follow. I could see there was no one behind them, but I couldn't accept it, not after all we'd been through. Kyle, please tell me you're in there. I begged, but there was nothing to show that he'd understood. His eyes glazed over, and I knew that what remained of Kyle was only the barest of brain function. Kimber was now openly sobbing.
Stop,
she whispered.
Sam, stop.
I worked to get a hold of myself. Over the last 2 days, I'd convinced myself that there was more to Kyle than I'd been led to believe the last time I'd seen him. I needed him to be more than the soulless vegetable I'd left behind, but being confronted with the human shell in front of me made the truth hurt even more. I stood up from the bed and walked over to the window to watch the snow fall outside. A new powder to cover this place. We'd come so far, but not far enough. We'd won in almost every conceivable way on the barest of odds, but it still wasn't enough. I wanted Kyle back too. I wanted to be whole. I heard Kimber leave the doorway and turned to watch her sit in front of Kyle. She took his limp hands in hers and held them while she softly told him she missed him and that she loved him. And then she laid her head on his lap and continued to whisper to Kyle through her tears. I turned back to watch the snowfall. And then I heard a voice that hadn't spoken since 10 years ago on that now silent mountain.
Kimber?
Hey everybody, so yeah, it's finally done. I know a lot of you have been waiting on this for a long time, so I hope you are happy with it. It was really awesome getting to work with the Let's Read again. And we have Dusklight Radio, Raw Mix, Spirit Voices, We Try Horror, and I was able to get Darkest Hour back as Mira. She was in the other Borrasca that I did in 2024. And I finally got the theme song done, which plays in the other one too, and in this one it's a song that's at the end and kind of plays throughout at times. I'm going to be uploading that to Spotify and the Somnium Music page. But my thoughts on the story overall is that it's definitely a very disturbing one. It deals with a lot of real life horrific things. It's kind of in with those types of stories like Pen Pal, where they're based in reality. And part of the thing that makes it so scary is that these type of things could happen in real life. I think the resolution at the end paid off pretty well, with them going back, getting everything exposed, and fighting Kyle. I feel like it wrapped it up pretty well. And the sound design for this one is really fun to do. It's a little bit different because there's not a whole bunch of stuff that happens, but it's a lot of setting the scene and the environments and little things happening, like cups moving and whatnot. Like when the cup broke in the beginning, when they flung the cup off the table, I did a panning effect, so it kind of makes it sound like it's going off to the side of the room and hitting a wall. So if you're wearing headphones, or just if you notice, the cups slides and pans from the center to your left or right, depending on if I have my headphones on backwards. But yeah, then slams over, and then you hear the crash on the left side. So little things like that to just kind of set the environment to make it seem like you're there, at least to the best of my ability. And I wanted to let you all know that I'm redoing my Patreon. So I'm going to be adding all of the stories to that and all of my music. So if you're on the Patreon, you'll be able to listen to all the stories and music there with no ads. And I'm going to be uploading the stories and my music at the same time that it goes up on my channel, or maybe a little bit before, since I mainly post at specific times on YouTube. I might do a little bit earlier on the Patreon and Spotify, but I'm not sure yet. First, I got to get it all caught up. And some of you may have noticed a difference between this one and the other Borrasca. In the other Borrasca, I played Sheriff Walker, the dad, but in this one, Vidith does it. And obviously I did that because it's better to have more voices, and I think he has a great voice for it. So I'm going to try to have him go and record the lines for the first Borrasca, and then go back to my original project file, because I was able to finally get it and recover it, and go into it and just replace all the dad's lines with his, so it's consistent for when I do the entire full Borrasca video that has the whole thing, which I don't even know how long that's going to be, 7 hours? Maybe 6, who knows? But alright, if everything goes as planned, this video is going up in 7.5 hours. It is currently 1:30 in the morning here, and I've been up since 5 a.m. making sure that this gets done before I go to sleep so I can upload it tomorrow, because it was supposed to go up Monday, but I kept having setbacks. And so when I woke up this morning, I was like, I'm not sleeping until it's done, and I've stuck to that, and it's done. I just gotta go review it. I actually might not even sleep, because I still need to review the whole thing to make sure there's nothing horribly wrong with it. But yeah, I'll be in the comments like I normally am to see what you all think and just be chatting it up with everybody. With that said, have a great day.